It's very nice to be back.
Yeah, it's a little bigger on the inside.
If you are listening, to this on the day it comes up, it will be the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yay.
Which I don't know why you'd want to, watch our podcast on the anniversary of Doctor Who. Just watch some Doctor Who. But hey, if you're here, stick around.
When you're here, you're family. Come on.
Yeah.
Like Olive Garden?
Yeah, I went to Olive Garden last night.
Yes.
Like Olive Garden, but with cum pills, hypothetically.
They played Mac the Knife.
I promise this will be short. I found this out recently. I didn't know this. Apparently, in Sonic, the Sonic movie, they were not sponsored by Olive Garden. The writers
went.
They just thought it was so funny that they wrote it into the script as a recurring gag.
Weren't they sponsored in the second movie though?
I think they were. Yeah,
I think they did afterwards. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah,
I just remembered that I saw that the other day, and I wanted to mention that.
I mean, the funniest restaurant is an Olive Garden.
All right.
Yeah, it's Doctor Who podcast. We've been wanting to. I know I've been wanting to do this one for a while because it's been the big thing coming up.
Yeah, it's literally the exact right time to do this.
I'm excited to get back into it. So
I mean, they're going back to series 1. We're getting new specials.
This is a full fucking reboot. This is technically like a new. This is the 3rd show. Like,
has that been confirmed?
Yes, it has. They specifically said that the new series will be series 1. This Chuti and Russell both said this. And on Disney Plus, I believe it's already up as Series 1 2023. This is the official rebranding of Doctor Who. We've had Classic Who, New Who, and then I guess this would now be like Modern Who. I don't know.
I guess.
I suppose. The last one is Dreamcast era Who, I think. Yeah.
No, Dreamcast era Who was the fucking wilderness years.
The TV movie, maybe, somewhere around there.
So, you had a really good idea at the very beginning. Basically, just all of us starting with our introduction to the series.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first, class?
Gabe, how about you? Special guest
I actually have a very vivid memory of the first episode I ever saw. Because my family, my mom, dad, my sister used to watch it every Saturday, right? It was Saturdays?
Yeah, it was on Saturdays.
Yeah. It was Saturdays, and then
unless
Chibnall made it Sundays.
Unless you came in on the Chibnall era, in which case I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But that was Sundays.
But I would always be like, "Oh, you guys always watch this show. I want to watch it with you." And they were like, "No, you're too young. It'll be too scary. It comes on too late. You have to go to bed, so on." So I never got to watch it until I was on spring break or like a summer vacation once, and the episode 42 was airing that week.
Oh shit!
So another Chibnall episode.
Set up, it is a Chibnall episode. My family set up in the hotel room to watch it like they did every week, and I was there, and they couldn't just say like go away, so they just let me watch with them. That's a really frightening episode to start with when you're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit intense.
It was a lot of fun. And then I watched it every week after, which means that my second, third, and fourth episodes were Human Nature, Family of Blood, and Blink.
See, that's a banger way to start.
Yeah, I know. So that was my introduction to the series. And then after that, my dad would always talk about old Doctor Who. And so as I kept watching it and as I grew up, I would go and seek out old Doctor Who, or they'd be showing it on TV. Up in Canada, we had the Space Channel. And they would sometimes show classic Doctor Who. And I remember the first classic episode I watched was Tomb of the Cybermen.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to the series.
Nice. Yeah, you got in with some of the like avant-garde episodes a little bit, the spooky ones.
Yeah, some of like the weird, like the ones people look at now and are like, wow, they don't make Doctor Who like this anymore. At least during the Jodie era.
It's wild that you kind of came in on one of Chris Chibnall's best episodes, like one of the two.
I'd say that is his best episode still. Like, it's nothing amazing, but it has a great concept.
Which one is 42 again?
It's the one where
Burn
they're on
with
the
me.
ship. Yeah, Burn With Me. It's the one where they're on the
right.
ship approaching the sun, and they have to get through the 42 doors that are locked by trivia questions.
Oh no! It's not 42 doors. It's 42 minutes. He played with
That's
like
it.
the
It's
actual runtime of the episode. which
That's
was
it.
fun.
That's it. It is
Oh,
42
neat.
minutes. Yeah, but they have to get through these doors to get to the heart of the ship to try to redirect it, get to the escape pod as they as the crew members begin to become possessed by the sun.
Yeah,
It's a freaky one.
I think I
Yeah,
remember.
like it's not great.
That's
but
not the
it's
one with
not
Satan in
bad.
it, right?
No, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
Satan
Impossible Planet.
and the
Right.
Planet. Yeah,
That was a good episode
that's
too.
a wacky one. But yeah, what about you guys? Where did you come on the series?
Bane, you want to take it?
For me, it was around, I would say probably 2010. Netflix was just starting to get kind of big. I think it was around 2010, and they had Doctor Who at one point on Netflix. I know it sounds baffling, but
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started watching the 2005 series, thinking that's where it started, and it was all uphill from there. It was really
Oh
fun.
wow, you didn't have any idea about the old show?
For a few years there, most of my media engagement was anything on Toonami, and then anything that was on an Xbox demo disc. So that was kind of my knowledge for a few years there.
Yeah, I guess that does track with what we know of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
But yeah, that's a lot of people's starting point. Me, I watched the one special where it was David Tennant and the lady on the bus in like the desert or whatever.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead is a
Yeah.
very weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first. I didn't really watch it. My dad was flipping around the channels, and I saw that was on, and I knew that it was Doctor Who. I didn't know anything about the series, but I was like, Dad, I want to watch that one, and he was like, No, it's stupid, and I don't know why he thought it was stupid, but I think it was like years later. I don't remember. It would have been like 2011 or something, and around the height of like the big sweep in popularity in the like early 2010s. I got in on Rose, and I continued from there. And my first classic episode, I started with the Fourth Doctor, and I did Robot. I think was the first
Okay.
one. I think it was Robot with him.
That's a very safe way to start the
Yeah,
classic
it's a good one to
series.
start with, I'd say. It's
I gotta say, I did not really enjoy Classic Who until like a few years later. But yeah,
That's fair.
it was the first, because the first few episodes in that season are kind of like, well, we'll get into it, but yeah.
Well,
Kirsten, what about you?
so it was like I'm pretty sure I'm the latest of all of you, but it was like
Oh, yeah.
it was like mid 2011, like March or April, and my dad was like, "Hey, we don't have anything to do. We were just working out in the yard for fucking an hour, 2 hours. Let's relax and watch something." And he wanted to show me this funny little show called Doctor Who.
Nice.
He watched Doctor Who way back when it was airing on PBS here in America. I'm actually not sure which Doctor he started on. I think it was the fourth, but he showed me Time of Angels, which was the first part, of the Matt Smith Weeping Angels two-parter.
Yeah, it's Time of Angels in Flesh and
Flesh and Stone.
Right? Flesh and
Flesh
Stone.
and
Flesh and
Stone.
Stone. That's
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was just that episode. There was no Flesh and Stone. I think it's because we were running late for something. So I watched it and I was pretty into it. I specifically remember noticing that there was a continuity error
Oh, yeah.
in quotes because
right. Yeah.
because the doctor's like coming back to like comfort Amy, and he got his jacket yoinked by the Weeping Angels earlier in the episode, but he was wearing his jacket then, and I thought that was so smart for picking that up. And then finished up with so it was a really fun time. I really enjoyed it. I finished up like that week with Flesh and Stone on my own time. And yeah, it was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it. Then I just kind of left it for a while. And Doctor Who just became a thing that I kind of like, but I haven't seen much of. And then I selected a few episodes from the on-demand thing that my cable provider had, but they were kind of confusing. One of them was the God Complex.
That's a weird one to start with.
It's a good episode, a great episode even, but it is not an early episode. Not a good one. And the other one was fucking Wedding of River Song. Which is the worst episode, I think, for an early viewer. That relies
on like 3 seasons worth of
knowledge.
Like if your first,
it does.
It's like if your first Spider-Man comic was like Civil War or something.
It's like if your first Spider-Man comic is like Spider Island when everyone gets spider powers, and you're like, what's happening?
Or One More Day.
Yeah, One More Day, something like that.
You're right, it is like One More Day.
Like,
nice.
What the fuck? What am I reading here?
So yeah,
swinging. Sorry.
A little while later, my girlfriend at the time, she gave me her Netflix login, her uncle's Netflix login, I think.
Ooh.
And so I watched all of Doctor Who up to
Why did Bane say ooh to that?
I don't know. I just tried to be funny.
Why did you?
My girlfriend at the time gave me her
I just wanted to be popular.
And Bane went,
ooh.
Sexy stuff.
So I watched through from 2005 onwards, ending at series 6 because that was all that was available at the time, and I absolutely loved it. It was great. So after that, I was kind of starving for Doctor Who content, of course. I just finished binging a whole ass show. So I stepped into the classic series with The Three Doctors.
Oh, that's an interesting pick.
Wow,
it's not too bad, actually.
No, it's an interesting choice for first classic.
Well, see, my idea was, well, I don't want to watch stuff in black and white because I was stupid back then. So I just decided, hey, this is the first Three Doctors. I'll just watch that. And I mean, yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Not a great introduction to the Third Doctor specifically, but still, like, it was a fun little time. And then I watched Pyramids of Mars, which is a fucking amazing story. I love it.
Pyramids of Mars is really good.
Yeah, it's the one with Sutek.
It's basically the Doctor and Sarah.
Yeah, Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane land at Unit Headquarters, but before it was Unit Headquarters. And it's owned by kind of a Peter Cushing style character.
Interesting.
It's really good.
I feel like I'm probably seen it at some point, but I don't fully remember.
Yeah, I got it.
Sounds familiar.
It's a good one. I recommend watching it. But
it comes right after Planet of Evil and Terror of the Zygons, I think.
Oh, I've definitely seen it then. I remember. I very much remember Terror of the Zygons. That was one I really liked.
That was
it's Genesis of the Daleks, Terror of the Zygons, Planet of Evil, Pyramids of Mars, and then oh god, what's the one after? Is that the one with? I think that's the Android Invasion. That's the one where you see Harry Sullivan for the last time.
I'll go over the. I'll actually, because I have a 100% completely legal copy of literally everything in Doctor Who.
Oh, nice.
So
that's very handy.
I think that's season 13. Terror of the Zygons, Planet of Evil, Pyramids of Mars, Android Invasion, Brain of Morbius, which we'll probably get to.
We won't talk about Brain of Morbius, dude. I love Morbius.
It's a
Morbius.
Yo, you're a Morb head.
More bound, dude.
There is,
and then the Seeds of Doom.
The funniest thing about that episode is that there is legitimately a scene where the Doctor morbs out.
He does.
Well, I mean, that movie did have a former Doctor morbing out too.
True.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Genesis of the Daleks was the second to last story of the previous season, which, by the way, was actually I have it right here. It was the first Doctor Who DVD that I bought.
Oh, cool.
And it's right here, Genesis of the Daleks. It's kind of beat up. But yeah, I got this I got this along with Destiny of the Daleks because I heard it was a sequel. This one's
Oh,
better.
yeah.
This one's.
I
a lot
just
better.
watched Destiny of the Daleks. I liked it pretty well.
Yeah, it's a good story, but
Probably seen that one before, but yeah.
it's going up against Genesis of the Daleks. There's no.
Yeah.
Speaking of Genesis of the Daleks, we actually. Hold on, let me. So I'm not going back and forth between the mic. I'm just gonna put stuff away real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So speaking of Genesis of the Daleks, since we've all went ahead and said our intros to Doctor Who, there's some new content.
There is.
I'm not
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure which of you guys have watched it. I'm guessing
seen it.
all.
I saw it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a Children in Need sketch.
It was the first one of those I've ever seen, actually.
Oh,
Um,
you
But it
should.
was pretty fun.
If you go back and rewatch the series, I recommend watching them with the Children in Need sketches between each season.
Those
Yeah.
and also the Red Nose Day sketches.
Yeah, the Red Nose Day sketches are fun.
The Red Nose Day sketches are so much fun. The oh my god, how could I forget what it's called? Like the classic one.
Time Crash.
No.
Wait, that was
um,
Children in Need.
The Curse of Fatal Death
Yes.
is one of my favorite pieces of Doctor Who media. And
Curse
it
of Fatal Death is
also
great.
technically includes the
The
12th,
first.
11th, 10th, and 13th Doctors, but not the actual ones.
Yeah, not the ones you
Um,
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I would
Yeah,
highly
it
recommend
was it was back in '93 when everyone was it '93?
Oh, was
It was
that one of the
99.
ones that had like Hugh Grant in it or whatever? I
Yes,
remember
Yeah.
hearing.
yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I fucking the Peter Cushing movies that they made. I think there were
I
two
still
of
haven't
them.
watched those.
Those are really
I've
fun.
been meaning to. Yeah, there's a lot of things I've never seen in the series. It's so expansive. I mean, I've started listening to some of the audio dramas. We're
Those
gonna
are-
get
those are
into
good.
we're gonna get into like an overview of a little bit of everything, probably a little bit of everything all the time here. But we're gonna get into a little overview. But like the Eighth Doctor is like one who got like a shitty TV movie and nothing else. But then
Yeah.
there's just a
It
whole
was
world
okay.
of. Well, yeah, it was not that bad,
It's
but it got
questionable in places.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he opened the whole world opened up to him in fucking audio dramas. You ever want to just like drive to work and listen to some Doctor Who action? There's like acted audio books with Doctor Who action. Hours and hours of it, fucking seasons of it. And
I really
it's
recommend it.
really
I'll
great.
pull up some recommendations once we kind of get around to that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
people look at Doctor Who, and the interesting thing is a lot of people think of it in the context of the modern era, like
Yeah.
the newer stuff, and they know that there's stuff before it, but I don't think people realize just how
like
much Doctor Who there is.
Comics and books and
Video
fucking
games.
video games.
I'll
Yeah.
say that like
Not as many as I'd like.
Grey's Anatomy is white woman's One Piece, right?
It
Doctor Who
really
is like British One Piece.
I hate
Basically-
that meme so much, but yeah, it's,
I
it's
mean,
accurate.
I can kind of see it. I mean, the difference is it's a little messier than One Piece, a little bit less planned, obviously, but like it's very lengthy. Doesn't feel like it's going in a direction as much as just like kind of continuing forever, but I could see the connections, yeah.
It's a thing where like when people look at Doctor Who, they know like the 10th Doctor, 11th Doctor, but I don't think people realize that Doctor Who started 60 years ago, the day
Yeah.
after JFK's assassination.
JFK took his last convertible ride, and then the next day, Doctor Who started.
Like I
Think
remember
about
my dad
that.
telling when about his experience when the first episode of Doctor Who premiered, because he's British and he watched it the first day it premiered, and he was a little kid and it terrified him.
Wow.
Shit.
And then it did the same thing to me. You know,
Yeah.
Hell
like
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
just
I
how
mean-
long this has been going.
The first episode is pretty haunting in a way, and then the rest of that serial is just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I could definitely see it being a little bit scary, yeah.
You win some, you lose some. Anyway, what was I saying? So there's new content. New
Oh,
Doctor Who
right,
content.
yeah. New
The Children in
Genesis
Need
of the
sketch.
Daleks, yeah.
And I want to go ahead and get this out of the way because there's a bit of a discourse.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a discourse. So you might have noticed that Davros was up and walking around in the Children in Need sketch.
Yes.
Typically, he isn't. And, you know, it's kind of seen as, you know, it's you know, it's very excusable because this is earlier than Genesis of the Daleks, Davros, even though it does contradict the Big Finish audios that Davros took part in. However, you know, Doctor Who just does that.
Yeah.
It just be like that. So Russell T Davies said after the fact that he intentionally made that decision so as to not play into the stereotype that disabled people are evil. And there's been some discourse about that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, when I saw it, I just thought that there was something I missed where he was always, you know, walking before some incident happened.
Oh, he was. He was a completely normal looking Scaran. They even in Peter Capaldi's run, they actually show him as a child at one point.
Yep.
And he just looks like a young child, you know.
So what's the problem then?
If I remember correctly, what happens that causes him to be put in the chair? Is that the like explosion from one of the audio dramas?
I don't remember actually.
Oh no, you know what it was? It was one of the audio dramas, and there was a bombardment on the Khaled facility he was working in, and it caused him to become so severely damaged that he was stuck in the chair.
Yes, it happens in the audio drama called Guilt.
Yeah, but I think that takes place like
it's part of a larger series called I Davros.
Yeah, like it takes place not that long before the stuff you see him in the chair in the series. So like there's no problem with showing him not disfigured. Like
It's just a lot of people are upset, kind of strangely upset that going forward Davros is not going to be in his like life support unit. He's going to be walking around.
I saw someone say that he should become kind of like a disembodied head kind of idea.
Yeah, they did that in Remembrance of the Daleks.
Kind of. He's like a head and shoulders covered in wires in Remembrance, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I actually like that idea. I think that that's a good substitute because the whole point of Davros is that he seeks, you know, immortality, right? He's trying to continue to advance his life, so why not have him become like a head in the jar kind of threat? It removes the element of the like disability from him, but still keeps him as this like menacing, inhuman entity.
Yeah, but a lot of people are getting kind of strangely upset about that because
is it the usual people, the pronouns people?
Yeah. But some of them even
one notable one. I know where you're going with this.
Signed a petition.
Oh God! Always with the petition
to Parliament, British Parliament, to get them to change it.
Right, they gotta change the disabled guy back. Is this wrong?
Oh, I don't like how you made him sound like a beetle.
What? You gotta change him back?
Well, and you know who's at the core of this, right?
Is it Ian Levine?
It is Ian Levine.
Oh, it's that guy again, the racist guy.
He was saying that.
No. Ian Levine is not racist. That's Steph Coburn.
Yes.
Oh. Who is this fellow?
Ian Levine. He opposed the idea of a female doctor.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's you know all you really need to know.
He made a statement where he was like, "Hey, you know, I'm in a wheelchair, and I'm very offended by the fact that Davros won't be in a wheelchair," and compared it to a Dalek being offensive to salt shakers.
Oh yeah, I did see that part.
And then him and his Facebook Doctor Who group that he runs started that petition to Parliament.
Oh, me and my Facebook Doctor Who group are gonna put you away,
What a fucking weird.
bullies.
Ian Levine is the one we talked about last time, who is responsible for Doctor in Distress.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I'm not sure how many people bring up Doctor in Distress when they're talking to him about how stupid he is, but I hope it's a lot. I really hope it's a lot.
I love Doctor in Distress. But yeah, that's the current Doctor Who discourse right now is Davros should be disabled no matter what.
Or because there's a different side to this. There's a certain side who says that this has like been a discussion from the very start.
Yeah.
Apparently people have been very, very outspoken about how Davros is insensitive to people with disabilities.
They have. This has been an ongoing discussion, yeah.
I have never seen that ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The whole ongoing, like, we can't have people clap, change it to jazz hands kind of thing. That is kind of silly, but like, I mean, as a disabled, I don't know, I guess if they had a hook hand guy, it would be playing into a stereotype too, but I don't know. I guess they have to include a character though who's in a wheelchair who's like a good version of that like a different stereotype. Like they're more like Bentley from Sly Cooper, I guess. Instead of being evil, they're like a helpful guy in a wheelchair,
And I think there is an actual wheelchair bound actor, I think that's the right term, in the new series.
I don't think one's been announced, but they have made the new TARDIS a lot more accessible in that way.
Wasn't there a wheelchair? Let me see.
There was, I think,
people got
a kid
very upset because they thought that she would be the new companion.
The
can't
unit
do
woman.
that.
The unit woman. Fuck,
Yes, Ruth
name?
Madley.
Yes.
People were very upset that she was in the show because they thought that they were going to have the Doctor's companion be in a wheelchair, which, according to them, was travesty and inexcusable.
All right, I mean, I will say, like, trying to make a handy-capable TARDIS is a little bit silly, but people complaining that the Doctor couldn't possibly have a handicapped companion is significantly dumber, I would say, than anything you could suggest in the opposite.
Yeah, it was very silly. And then of course they announced the real companion and everyone, okay, cool, it's okay. She's just
it's a white
two legs,
it's a white woman. We're safe.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Great. Well, they got burned over having a black gentleman play the Doctor, so they have to their anger has to smolder in some direction, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's gonna be a disabled. There's, I don't know. People are gonna be. I mean, because also, I don't know. There's gonna be like probably gay representation at some point, and people are gonna scream about
there's
that.
been so much.
Yeah. Like
also,
obviously that's gonna happen, and people are gonna and people the worst thing people are gonna act like it's surprising is the thing. You're gonna get these nerdrotic type of channels screaming about like they've changed Doctor Who again, and it's like no, there's pretty much been shit like that since the fucking 70s or whatever.
They are straight up going to complain that the series written by a gay man is going to have gay representation.
Also, Jack Harkness is a fan favorite, and he's a pansexual man. Like,
he is the most pansexual man.
He is canonically the gayest man in the universe in Doctor Who.
Willing to fuck anyone who will willingly fuck him.
Yeah, like, I find it really funny when people get upset about, like, LGBT or, like, I hate the term woke.
Same.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's lost all
people
of its
get
meaning.
upset about that
I'm
stuff,
not even sure if
and
it
it's
had
like
any in the
you
first
haven't
place.
been watching this show. River Song was also bisexual.
Yep.
Of course, there was Jenny and Vastra in the modern series. Clara, I believe, was also canonically bisexual.
I forgot who it was. Virginia Woolf she kissed, or something
Yeah,
like
something like that. But like this, there's been stuff like that for ages.
that.
Like,
Actually, I think it was Jane Austen.
I remember when 12 was being announced, and everybody was like, "Who's gonna replace Matt Smith?" All of that fervor. There was a lot of people being like, "Is it gonna be a woman? Is there gonna be the first female doctor?" Obviously, that eventually did happen. But at the time, I do remember being kind of like, "Well, there shouldn't be a woman doctor." But at this point, it's like, well, he can fucking regenerate his fucking body. I don't know why that's the problem that he turns into a she, like,
yeah, and
in the
like say what you
process.
will about Stephen Moffat's writing, but I kind of appreciate that throughout 12's run, he repeatedly is like, guys, Time Lords can literally become completely new people. Who cares if they are now a woman? They don't care. Why do you
Yeah.
care so much?
Well, yeah, and what is it? Hellbent. I think it's Rassilon regenerates into like a black lady or something.
Not Rassilon. It's the. I don't think he has a name. Hang on.
It's the other guy, yeah.
No, he has a name. It's oh god, what's his name?
The war chief, the war president, something
Oh
like
no,
that.
is it just the
Yeah.
12th general? I think it's just the 12th general.
The general.
Yeah.
Okay.
But people got really upset about that, despite it being like a really minor element of that episode that just kind of happens and they move on.
Honestly, for me, the most canon breaking part of that is that it gave her fucking eyeshadow.
Yeah,
Where did that come from? Where did that come from, Moffat?
But then I like that Moffat did that as just a like, who cares? It can happen. Who cares? Just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the best master. I'm just going out and saying it. The best master.
No, I agree.
Is fucking Missy, the one that was a woman.
They had already established that at the start of Capaldi's run with one of the best characters in modern Doctor Who and in old Doctor Who, in my opinion. I think Missy is one of my favorite Doctor Who characters ever by the end of Capaldi's run. Like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, people are weird about. Excuse me. All right, so there's so much to talk about. I'm not even sure what to talk about next. What's y'all's favorite Doctors?
Well, what is the series about? We've done all of this.
Oh well, I mean, I would assume that someone clicking on this would know, but I guess for the maybe swap this and the previous conversation if you want to.
I might. We'll play it by ear. How about that?
Sure. So, for those of you who don't know and have sat through all of this so far, Doctor Who is a show that, originally started in 1963, on the day that this was uploaded, and EST.
Yeah.
But yeah, started in 1963. It's about an alien time traveler by the name of the Doctor and his assorted companions. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, his full name is Dr. Disco.
That's true.
Not Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Funkenstein.
Hell yeah. So the Doctor and his various companions, it changes surprisingly often, inside a time travel device that is bigger on the inside and looks like a old British police telephone box known as the TARDIS.
Yes.
What does it stand for, Tristan?
Oh, it stands for Tingly Arses Dingling in Space. It stands for...
You just said Tatus.
Did
close enough.
Rapidly dingling. Sorry.
There you go.
It stands for time and relative dimension in space. Actually, is it dimension or dimensions?
Dimension.
I think it's dimension.
Dimension.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I can check.
It's time and relative dimensions in space.
All right.
I thought it wasn't plural. Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, that's the basic premise of the show. The Doctor and his assorted companions going around getting into hijinks. Having a fun old time. Sometimes a really not fun time.
A lot of the time, there's normally like some sort of
horribly traumatic time. Sometimes.
Well,
Yeah, the show started as kind of like an education, a
It did.
semi-edutainment program,
Yeah.
where because the initial thing was it was an elderly gentleman, kind of grandfatherly figure, and his like 20-year-old daughter is she's like in high school or something actually I think
she's
I
like
think
15, I think. At
15,
least
okay.
15 presenting.
Yeah.
You know, and I think her teachers initially as well go on this journey across time and space and everything, and that was kind of before they had any idea of, you know, her being or him being, you know, like regenerating into other people or anything like
Yeah,
that.
this is early.
Yeah. This is the very beginning days, and then, you know, later on they kind of stapled some extra lore to that, you know, and I think
They
it
did
worked
it a
out pretty
bunch of
well.
times. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes it worked well.
Like
Yeah.
the first series of Doctor Who was a combination of let's go see Marco Polo, let's go to the Aztecs, let's see cavemen, and also, oh, what a strange alien creature. They're from planet Glorbulon. You know, it was a kind of weird mix of that, but it worked. It worked really well.
Yeah, actually, let me go over the first few stories because I still
Because
have
it was an unearthly child, and then it was the Daleks, and then it
which
was Edge of Destruction.
yeah, so an unearthly child. We'll just go ahead and say it. Not that great. Watch the first
It's
episode.
fine. It's
Yeah, the first episode is good. The rest of it is just kind of people
It's
stumbling around in a cave, and
it's
it's a little
boring
boring.
caveman politics, and also the doctor tries to kill one of the cavemen, which I think is the best
Oh,
part of anything past the end of the first episode.
There is a really funny scene where he's like, "I will kill this caveman," and everyone's like, "Please don't."
Ian's like, "Whoa, what are you doing, buddy?" And the doctor's like, "Oh no, I just picked up this rock to ask him to draw our way back to the TARDIS."
It's really funny. Um,
So then right after, because like it was very unpopular after the first episode, and then the Daleks happened, which is like
big deal.
yeah. Dalek mania is a thing that exists. It is a thing that happened in the mid to late 60s.
yeah.
So that was a whole ass 8-part episode, 7 parts. Sorry. And then afterwards you have the Edge of Destruction, which is just kind of a bottle episode. Then afterwards you have Marco Polo,
Which
The
is lost to
Keys-
time.
Yeah,
Oh,
sadly.
is that one of those?
So sadly, a lot of episodes from the first and second Doctor's runs are missing. They're not completely missing. We have audio from all of them. It's just we don't have full video from like close to 100 of them.
Yeah, it was because at the time the BBC were running out of tape, and so they started to record over.
Well, there were some people that were doing it fucking on purpose, like out of spite or some shit. Yeah.
But they basically chose specifically to record over a lot of Doctor Who stuff, especially around season 3 onwards, I think. So what we have is cobbled together from people's VHSs that they recorded Doctor Who onto as it was broadcasting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Nice.
And there's almost 100 missing episodes. There's the possibility of more coming up, although that possibility is getting smaller and smaller, of course, by the year. There's some intrigue recently, though. A few people recently have been sort of talking about some episodes that are in people's collections, and the BBC they basically just announced amnesty to anybody who wants to like bring forward old tapes. They're not going to prosecute him or anything.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Cool.
we'll see that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Sadly, Marco Polo was lost to time. I'm going to pull up the rest of the missing episodes.
Yeah, I know a lot of the second Doctor, like, isn't it like most of the second Doctor was basically lost to time?
Almost the entirety of his first 2 seasons are just gone. I think I don't remember if it's specifically just this one, but I think only Tube of the Cybermen is complete. I don't know if any of the others are complete.
Fuck.
Oh, that's horrible.
All right. Well, we'll get to that.
He has to be like. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead and finish that thought.
Oh, I was just gonna say Patrick Troughton has to be like the most, probably the most unpopular doctor because he just doesn't have anything to work with. I mean, even Paul McGann has been
Uh,
like redeemed in light of the, the audio dramas. I guess there's some stuff like that for, that like recreate audio recreations of some of those stories. I think there's some things like
yes.
that, but yeah, I don't know. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, the
It's
lost
super
media
unfortunate.
curse.
Yeah. So Marco Polo is entirely missing. There are reconstructions for all, like, to varying degrees of success and decentness. There are recreations of all the episodes that are missing, but typically it's just going to be telesnaps and audio narration between, like, overlapping the audio of the original episode.
Mm.
But Marco Polo is entirely missing. The next episode is The Keys of Marinus, which I haven't watched.
It's a weird one, and then it ties directly into the Aztecs, I remember.
Yeah, the Aztecs, well, a lot of these just kind of like bled into each other. Like you would have them be like, oh, whoa, oh, we're landing from our previous adventure, and then it just starts a new one.
I know that the Sensorites is the first Doctor Who story that establishes that they are now in the future. Like they have actually, as opposed to going back in time, they have now gone forward in time. I'm pretty sure that's the first
Yes,
story.
I'm pretty sure. At the very least, you could argue that Keys of Marinus takes place in the future, because I don't remember them saying that they were a different race.
Yeah, and then it's also hinted later on after they introduce the Ood that the Ood are like a kind of like
Kind of like cousins of the
evolutionary
Sensorites.
sibling of the Sensorites. Yeah,
Yeah,
similar to the Sea
Yeah.
Devils and the Silurians.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There was
Doctor
that.
Who is one of the more, I would say, one of the more successful. There's obviously notable outliers like the untimely child scenario, but there's one of the more successful, like, ongoing canon storylines for a long time. You think of, like, again, compare it to like a Spider-Man, where it's like it's basically like in shambles at this point, and if you look at anything for longer than a minute, it's like, oh, yeah, this whole fucking thing is based on just complete nonsense and fucking, like Gwen Stacy had sex with Norman Osborn and all of this insane shit. But Doctor Who, it's like, it's been going for nearly just about 60 years, 60 as of, when this
When
goes
this,
up.
yeah,
And
when this is up, it will be 60 years.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like mostly intact. I mean, there's some dumb stuff that's happened. There's definitely been some weird decisions and bad moments, and people don't like, Jodie or whatever, but like, for the most part, fucking it's been like 60 years of at least decent quality, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Nothing so
when you really look
crazy that
back
they
at
like ruined everything.
when you really look back at the history of Doctor Who, the thing that's very admirable, especially about writers like Stephen Moffat, actually, like Russell T Davies did it a bit, and kind of to the detriment of Stephen Moffat's writing, he did it a little too much. But he's kind of the reason that a lot of classic Doctor Who stuff still exists now.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Russell T
Yeah.
Davies did it again a bit, but he did it in ways where it's like the Macra were a second Doctor enemy, and then in the episode Gridlock on New Earth, when they're in the gridlocked highway system, below them
Mm.
are the Macra, but they've like evolved and they've like kind of become these just monstrous entities. So like they're not really the same, but he kind of brings them back.
yeah.
Stephen Moffat
Yeah.
did a little bit more concretely with stuff like the Silurians, where he was like, "This is a thing that hasn't been touched for 40 years. Bring it
Well,
back."
the Zygons were a big
The
one in
Zygons,
that
Yeah.
the
Zygons
one special.
and he used
for the
them
50th
insanely
anniversary. Yes.
well,
50th,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of don't really like the new Zygons because they like contradict old canon. But I think I think it's done relatively well.
I think that it suits the purpose of this is a race so many generations later from where we saw them previously, and they've changed over time. I think it works, you know?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, people have an issue with the fact that they tried to have like a little bit of depth and be like, "Hey, this race isn't
No,
entirely
it's
exclusively
not that.
evil." No?
It's not
Okay.
that. It's basically it's some like muddling of their exact powers because the
Oh,
Zygons are
okay.
shapeshifters, and originally they had to have the shapeshifters. They had to have the shapeshiftees like in a pod, and they don't have that. Again.
They
Well,
kind of do that
they
later
do keep
on.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they keep it, but only for like thought transfers and stuff like that.
exactly. They make it which again, in my opinion, that's like whatever. They just made it so that the Zygons could look like you, but they wouldn't have your complete consciousness and memories
They,
unless you were in a pod, which is fine.
yeah, maybe they're like fucking Alolan variant Zygons and they're slightly different, it's
Yeah,
fine.
It's like
either
the Suntarans. The
technology's
Suntarans have
advanced.
never been exactly the same as they used to be, you know?
Yeah,
Well, no, I mean, it's also like Star Trek where like you look at the original Klingons and they're just like vaguely racist character. Like I think they're kind of supposed to be like Mongolians and they're, in like almost yellow face in like the original series.
Yeah.
It's like not they're not really in like alien disguise. It doesn't look like ridged forehead like Worf men. They're like, and people complain about that. I mean, I think a better example would be, like, it's honestly amazing that Daleks have looked basically the same for most of the time. Like, they gave them new colors like a decade ago or something.
And that
But
lasted for 2 episodes, and then they never touched it again.
yeah.
yeah, that is true. Yeah, I don't know why, but
I
the
actually
many colored M&Ms of the new Daleks.
I
But
actually really liked the idea of Daleks having a color hierarchy to differentiate their roles, but I don't
yeah,
think they did it well. I think that could have been done just better.
that was the
Um,
Yeah.
Winston Churchill episode, right?
That was,
Yes.
yes. The
The
idea of,
Yeah.
like, the yellow Dalek being the science expert. That's like, okay, that's kind of fun. You can look at a Dalek and you can see its role in their operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it's a shame they didn't
that
continue with that.
it's mostly the fault of the episode just doesn't really do them that well.
It doesn't, no. It focuses
Like
too much on the idea of Daleks in World War II and not enough on what they're trying to set up with those new Daleks.
well, I was thinking also more than just like story wise, like like visibly. Like
Yeah,
it's just not like their big epic transformation scene just isn't really directed that well.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it also takes place in a very soulless looking metal room that looks nothing like a Dalek ship.
Yeah.
So I sadly fun idea. I'm not sure if it's exactly good, but it's at the very least worthy of checking out. But
Again, I think
yeah,
it's good in concept,
yeah, they just kind of fucked it up.
Yeah, which
Meanwhile,
happens a lot throughout Doctor Who.
Yeah.
the Cybermen have basically looked like a little bit different almost every time they show up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that really fits with their theme.
And it also,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I'm not going to say anything specific, but there's an element of the Cybermen. Obviously, the Cybermen that we see for a lot of David Tennant's run are based on the alternate Earth Cybermen designs. That's kind of when they got a full redesign with like
Yeah.
the more rounded chest piece and the specific design of the helmet. But Peter Capaldi's run actually does Cybermen really well at the end. I'm not going to say anything specific.
Yeah, especially since Claude just watched Series 9.
Yes. Well,
Um,
a good amount of Series 9. I'm fairly
Yeah.
caught up, yes.
Yeah. But his final season uses the Cybermen really well at the end in highlighting in-world evolution of Cybermen, but also throughout the series how their design has evolved. They actually tie that into the episode, which is really clever.
It's really
Um,
it's just a great episode too.
It's a fantastic. I love that two-parter. But yeah, like they've looked mostly the same. They have the same like ideas every time.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
it's
think
a
who else
lot
they've
of
looked mostly the same.
I mean, a lot
Sontaran.
of the time Yeah, the Centaurans mostly look the same. A lot of the time it'll be like the hyper fans complaining about like this costume used to look stupid and from the 70s and now it looks newer and why doesn't it look stupid anymore? And like that's basically it. It's like, well, it just looks a little better now. It's, it doesn't need to be like a lore thing,
What's like I've
for
seen people get
In
upset about Master and his performances and like the way he looks in different iterations. And I'm like, guys, at one point he was just like a charred corpse.
yeah, he was
Like,
crispy.
just get over it, man.
yeah.
I will say there are some instances where the old fans have it right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, one of them is just because the costumes prosthetics just stopped working while shooting. That's Legend of the Sea Devils.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Sea
yeah.
Devils. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we should probably really quick just get back. We'll do like a broad history of the show because
Oh yeah.
Well,
It's
really
just-
quick, should we get
Yeah.
into our sponsor?
We should.
yes,
Yes.
who's our lovely sponsor for today?
Why don't you
that'd
take
be
it away?
Cushy Dreams.
My favorite.
Yes. Look, it may be bigger inside a blue box, but I can tell you what is bigger. Your Highness when you smoke Cushy Dreams.
Yo.
Totally nailed it by the end there. Look,
Beautiful.
Cushy Dreams currently until December 15th has a deal going on where if you use our promo code on any item, any purchase, you get a chance to win up to $150 worth of free Delta 8 and CBD product.
That's $150 of just free stuff that you get for just using our code.
That's extra. That's shit you didn't even plan on getting. And you can win.
Yeah.
Again, ages
Oh,
21
yeah.
up and older, continent of the United States, etc. But
You can put that extra winnings, you can put the 25% off towards extra weed.
yeah,
You can get fucking a whole bundle of fucking weed. You can buy munchies to go with it. There's a lot of options available to
some
you.
good
Or
edibles.
or maybe watch some Doctor Who while you're high. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I've watched Doctor Who while high before. It's quite nice.
Very much so. It makes some of the because I've watched some of the older episodes really high and makes it make a little bit more
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah.
Well, less make
For me.
more sense. More you don't notice the wobbly sets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a little bit high with some cushy dreams. You put on one of those episodes where the greatest effect they had the budget for was a platform that rises a little bit and some smoke shoots out while a guy stands on top and goes ha 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 ha. And then just like you have the biggest, fattest cushy dreams joint in the world, and you go to
Hell
town on
yeah.
that.
Oh man.
And I mean, hey, you don't have to stick with the pre-rolls if you don't want to. You can get yourself some flour too.
Yeah. Get yourself some Delta 8, Delta 9. Don't they have Delta 10 at this point? I don't think so.
There's a
but-
lot of different Delta things.
But they do have the 1,000 milligram edibles, so you wanna
1,000
get yourself
milligrams
some
a
of those.
bag, and that's Delta 8, and they come in blue raspberry, green apple, and what are the other flavors?
I think there was a tangerine.
Yeah, it's tangerine.
Tangerine's Delta 9,
Yes.
which are the ones that we've had, and they're quite nice.
I think the Delta 8 one's blue raspberry, then I think it's assorted.
Okay.
Well,
All
get
right,
yourself
nice.
some variety, folks. Grab an assorted.
Yeah. There are now some
just sounds
THCA pre-rolls also, which promo codes do not apply for currently. But
Oh, that's a shame.
they will be something they're looking into deeper. But I'm gonna try some of those soon myself.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm definitely gonna have to at some point get myself some too.
But yeah, take a look at their
Hell yeah.
website, cushydreams.com. Really good shit.
That's and remember 21 and over children to use code LOUD25 at checkout to get 25% off of your purchase, as well as entering in to win $150 in product.
Are you sure that wasn't load 25?
Yes, I'm very sure. I'm not a stupid Norwegian.
All right, just making
Yes.
get that one safe. Shout it from the rooftops, folks. Loud 25 at checkout.
That's LOUD25 at checkout.
right there.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, what were we
Where do
doing?
we want to go?
Well, I do want to do a very brief history of the show.
Yes.
So,
Well, it was a fucking Canadian show. Eat shit.
yes, it was it was
Naked British
produced
co-production,
by
yeah.
Sydney Newman, who is Canadian.
Oh my.
Yeah. We are.
There's
Wasn't Terry Nation also Canadian? Maybe
I'm
not.
not
I'm not sure.
sure. Let me
No,
look.
I don't think so. But at least, yeah, Sydney Newman was Canadian, and
He was Welsh.
okay,
Huh.
yeah. Well, the Welsh have a strong history in Doctor Who. That's for
That's
sure.
true.
Yeah.
Artist.
So, started off in 1963, and it ran pretty successfully for 3 years. Then William Hartnell got kind of sick, and they decided, instead of recasting him, someone who looks like William Hartnell, or ending the show that's really popular, we're gonna do something uncharacteristic and silly. So they came up with this concept of the Doctor being, heavily wounded and just changing his entire body, and in the process healing. And that's why, oh geez, how many of them do we have now? We have like 30 doctors, 15 main
Yeah,
ones.
technically.
Actually
Okay.
16.
Okay. Well.
So we're up to 14, but then there's
14 numbered
War
incarnations.
Doctor.
We're up to 15.
Right, yeah.
We're up to 15, but there's also the War Doctor, so that's 16. But there's also the Morbius Doctors, and there are
There's the fugitive doctor.
there's the Fugitive Doctor as well, so that brings us to 17.
At least 6 incarnations of the Timeless
Er-
Child.
For those folks who don't know, by the way, the Morbius Doctors is not a joke.
Yes,
No.
yes. This is
it-
from a story called The Brain of Morbius. It's not from Morbius the 2021.
However,
And
Matt
film.
Smith was in that
in
movie.
Morbius, yeah.
Yes, he was.
And then in the Brain of Morbius, we see 8 versions of the Doctor, so that brings us up to 26.
Jeez.
And then again with the 6 iterations of the Timeless Child as well, that brings us to what, 31?
And
That's a
then
lot of
there's
doctors. And then there's a whole bunch of there's the curator from
The
the
Curator
50th
is also
anniversary
heavily
special.
implied to be an iteration of the Doctor, yeah.
There's also a second incarnation of the curator for Big Finish.
Yes, there is. Um
Then there's some alternate universe doctors.
some
yeah.
of the fucking Mr. Bean doctors and shit like that.
Yeah, there's Rowan Atkinson as the Ninth Doctor. Let me actually pull
There's
up
6
Curse of Fatal
Doctors
Death.
in the Curse of Fatal Death, I believe, because it's oh god, it's Rowan Atkinson, Richard E. Grant, Hugh Laurie, not Hugh Laurie, Hugh Grant.
Yeah, not Hugh Laurie.
Yeah,
That'd
Hugh
be cool
Grant,
though.
Jim Broadbent, and Joanna Lumley. So we see 5 Doctors there.
There's also the Scream of the Shalka Doctor,
Yeah.
Ooh.
who was
Also,
also
fun fact-
played, also played by Richard E. Grant.
Fun fact: Curse of Fatal Death was written by Stephen Moffat.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's all of them. I think it's about 36.
Well, there's some more for Big Finish, but let's just round it up to an even 40.
Well, yeah, there has to be about 40. Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're only allowed to have 12 or something, right?
Yes. So we'll fast forward a little bit. The Third Doctor kind of pumped some success into the show because it was set mostly on Earth, and I guess that was just the type of stuff that the audience wanted at that point. He became more of an action hero kind of guy who would give a judo chop to the bad guy. I don't know. But then the Fourth Doctor came along, and well, actually, they started doing off-Earth stuff around halfway through the Third Doctor's run, specifically after the 10th anniversary.
Well, the Third Doctor was like exiled to Earth specifically, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he was, yeah.
Exiled to
He would
Earth.
drive around. He would work with a unit who are an in-world, like extraterrestrial, supernatural organization.
Kinda like the
and
Men
I
in
don't
Black.
want I don't want to gloss
A
over
bit.
the third Doctor too quickly because he's actually up there on
He's
the
really
list
good.
of
No,
my
he's
favorite
excellent.
Doctors.
I love the
Yeah,
third.
I wasn't expecting because I don't know. I like the fourth Doctor, and I watched some third Doctor on a whim at some point, and I'm like, yeah, this is maybe going back a little far. It's stupid. It's old. I won't like it, but no, he's got a lot of energy. He's very unique. I would say that like Peter Capaldi is the closest thing to the third Doctor that we have now.
Well, we'll get to
You
that.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of his own thing going on too, but yeah, no, he's very action oriented. He gets into like is it like sword fights with fucking people and like
Yes.
At one point, yeah.
judo chops people, calls people nitwits, and he's just very irritable. I really like him, and then. Yeah, I think hasn't his son went on to play Alfred in the Gotham show. I don't
Yep.
know if he was ever involved in Doctor Who in
Um,
any way.
Sean Pertwee was Sean Pertwee, I believe, is only in the Five-ish Doctors.
Okay.
The little
I think I
comedy
saw
special
that.
thing they did. I think that's the
That one's
only
really
place
good.
that
I
he's
love
done
that one.
anything Doctor Who related.
I think so.
Oh, well, that's
Um,
interesting. He looks and sounds a lot like his dad, but
Well, he's
yeah,
he's
no.
actually dressed up as his dad for like Halloween and stuff. He's dressed up in a third Doctor costume
Oh, cool.
a bunch of
Yeah.
times.
I think the reason that he hasn't been back to play the third Doctor, like he hasn't, played the third Doctor, is because like I'm pretty sure it was like a thing with he didn't really want to, revisit that because
He doesn't want to be typecast or whatever.
well,
Yeah.
no. It's because he didn't want the memories to come back from his dad,
Oh,
making him
sure.
kind of sad because
Yeah.
typically dads are good and you spend a lot of time with them, and if you once they're gone, revisiting
Yeah.
the shit that they did might
Well, and
make you
also
a
it's
bit
like
sad,
you don't want to
which
be
is
like
understandable.
impose yourself on your dad's
Exactly. Yeah,
legacy,
that
that kind
too.
of thing too.
Yeah, I think he's discussed that, and he said something very similar to that before.
Yeah, so I
I would
think
definitely
he's
say the
starting
third
to warm up
Doctor.
to it though,
Okay,
because
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's done like Big Finish.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Doctor Who's always been a little bit weird about like because they'll have people replace,
He
like
has not showed up in the
like
in Big Finish.
oh no, okay. When the first Doctor like was no longer able to show up anymore, William Hartnell, right? That's the first
Yes, William
Doctor.
Hartnell. Yeah,
Yeah, when he was no longer able to show up, they would get what was his name again? It was Richard something.
Richard Herndolf in the Five Doctors,
Yeah,
which is a bit further down the timeline.
yeah. And then
yeah,
after that, they brought in David Bradley to play him.
Which I think is
yeah.
a stellar choice.
I do too.
And
David Bradley, awesome as the first Doctor.
they've done this a lot, but they do tend to try to use like stock footage of the Doctor if
They
they
use
can,
archive
and
footage quite often.
archive
Yeah.
footage, and yeah. So whenever it's like, oh, why don't they just do a new like an episode that has like a new guy as the old Doctor? Well, it's because they try to have like I think they want to maintain like let the past be the past, kind of let the
Yeah.
current thing have some
Yeah, it's a
something
mixture
like
of that actor availability, because like the oldest Doctor that we currently have access to besides David Bradley as the first Doctor is Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he has made it a point to not appear on TV as the fourth Doctor past his exit, which he's broken that rule a few times, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
He did show up in, was it the 50th anniversary?
He showed up in the 50th anniversary, not as the fourth Doctor. Well,
As, like,
he did in archive footage, but he showed up at the very end, not as the fourth Doctor, but as the Curator, who is definitely the Doctor, but it's written to be vague.
Yeah.
And he's also showed up to like film an ending for Shada, which is the I'm sorry, I got a ping. It's the oh geez. I'm sorry. Something I just got a DM. Okay, so just gonna ignore that. So shit, where was I? My brain's
the end of Shada.
yeah, he
Is
did a thing.
I think that's the one I'm watching now, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? So Shada is an unfinished story, famously unfinished, from like 1981. Douglas Adams wrote it, and it's kind of boring, to be completely honest. Admittedly, that might just be because it's unfinished and they had to like reconstruct the rest with either animation or like narration.
Yeah.
But in the animated version, Tom Baker shows up at the very end with Romana suspiciously off screen. By the way, we'll get into that in a sec. And he's playing like a sort of kooky older version of the Fourth Doctor that isn't technically the Fourth Doctor. It's just the future Doctor. Ooh.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But the reason, by the way, that Romana is off screen is because during the time that was originally filmed in the 80s, the companion at the time, Romana, in her second incarnation, played by Lala Ward, was married to Tom Baker. That didn't last too long.
Yeah.
And there's some bad blood there. So they do Doctor Who stuff together sometimes. Well, not like together, but they do Doctor Who stuff as a Doctor companion duo sometimes. But they refuse to record together anything.
Oh boy,
that's a shame. Yeah, it's
a
funny
shame,
actually,
but
because
you know,
I've been watching through season 17. The classic series was season, but now it's series. Everybody, you got to keep that in mind. It's important. I've been watching through season 17, Destiny of the Daleks. City of Death, I thought was really fun.
City of Death is fantastic.
I actually skipped over the Creature from the Pit because it seems a little boring, but Nightmare of Eden was good. I'm on Horns of Nimon now, and the next one after that is Shada, which is 6 parts, and you're saying that's not the end of it? It's unfinished?
No. There's 6 parts. It's just interstitially unfinished.
Okay.
Yeah, like they recorded in chunks based on location, and a lot of the locations that required like actual sets, those weren't finished.
Okay.
But like, you know, location filming out in like Oxford University, I think they were at, that all got done. In fact, they used unused footage from that in the 5 Doctors. Oh geez, what else is there? Carnival of Monsters I watched while high, and I think that colored my interpretation of it because I loved it. Let's see. Just going through all of them. The Curse of Peladon and the Monster of Peladon are really good. Watch Curse, then Monster. The Green Death. The Green Death is a good one.
Oh shit.
Oh, we're talking Third Doctor?
Yeah. Then there's after there's the 3 Doctors, and then Monster of Peladon, and then the Time Warrior is pretty good. I would say the Time Warrior is good. I keep confusing it with the Sontaran Experiment, which is not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
but
I would say, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff from the Third Doctor that people should. A lot of people think that like Doctor Who just like for me when I started watching the classic series, everybody says the Fourth Doctor's like the Doctor, right? So
he's definitely
you get
the one that's the most iconic.
He's the most iconic, and I would say that he is the best of the classic, from what I've seen anyway, but that's just, my take. But no, the Third Doctor is, like, fucking very worth watching in his own right, so I would...
Yeah, like, he stuck around for 5 years, which is massive at the time, because First Doctor could only stick around for, like, a season and 2 episodes, and the Second Doctor made it a point to only stick around for 3 years, so... Like, these are the 2 that bucked the trend, 3 and 4, and 3 still stayed a long time.
4 was like the long, I think...
7
longest
years.
Yeah, 4 and 10 are the 2 Doctors that have had the longest runs.
Yeah, well, 10/14 now, I guess, yeah.
No, 10 separate.
10,
even
I guess, separately even, jeez.
Tom Baker was around from 2000. What am I talking about? That's David Tennant.
Yeah.
Tom Baker was around from 74 to 81.
Yeah.
and David Tennant was around from 2006 to 2000. Oh God, when did he leave?
2009. Well, it's technically 2010, but it's basically 2009 because he stayed around until the very first day of 2010.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I would say that yeah, 4 is like he because the thing about Tom Baker is that apparently and from everything I've ever seen from him, like Tom Baker narrates an album from Arion, Transitus,
Nice.
and he does like the intro to every song. Meanwhile, Daniel's father, blah blah blah. And this was like from a couple of years ago, and he still had like so much energy. I don't know, he's like in his 80s or whatever. The whole album's about life and death, and you see the behind the scenes thing, and he's talking, and he's all like, "Well, I don't have very much time left on this mortal coil, so I'm talking about an album about life and death." Yes, and you know, he is basically, and yeah, from everything I ever heard about him, he basically acts like the Doctor. Like that's just who he is as like a personality.
He lived that role for like
and
8 years.
That's what's like, because we were talking about like City of Death or whatever. Like that is an episode, a serial rather, 4 episodes where it's essentially like a lot of it is the Doctor and Romana Lala Ward, his wife, I guess at the time or later maybe, just like running around on a romantic rendezvous in Paris, like having a fun time while whimsical music plays. And you mentioned that they're married at the time, and I'm like, wow, yeah, this isn't even Funny Spaceman and Space Lady. This is just this guy who's basically playing himself and his wife going on a fun adventure in front of the cameras, and that's the show. And somehow it worked. And it's like, I don't know, I can't think of any other actor who can just be themselves in that way, and it's just, there you go, it's Doctor Who. Beautiful. You know, there's something special about Tom Baker in that way.
Yeah, he's great.
I think only a few Doctor Who actors, besides like having their careers defined by it, which is the case for most of them, I think only a few Doctor Who actors have that element of like, this person is kind of singularly the Doctor alongside the other people who are also singularly the Doctor.
Yeah, obviously
like
William Hartnell,
John Pertwee, Tom Baker, David Tennant, Peter Capaldi. I don't know if I'd really say like when I look at Matt Smith, I think the Doctor.
I think
Matt
a lot
Smith,
of people would say that.
But a lot of people would, which is fair.
Yeah, here's what I'd say. For a few years, I did see him as the Doctor, but now I see him just kind of as Matt Smith. You know,
I think he was I mean, yeah, Matt Smith he's broken the curse a little bit of just being the Doctor, which is happening more and more now. I mean, Peter Capaldi was famous already before Doctor Who for being in lots of things, notably The Thick of It.
Yep.
And what is it, In the Loop or whatever?
In the Loop, yeah. And now he's done a bunch of stuff since as well. So
yeah. And David Tennant was on, I think he was on some stuff before the Doctor Who, but he's been on plenty of things since, like Broadchurch, and he's been in like Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah. And Matt Smith's in all sorts of movies and shit now. I think he's in the new Game of Thrones. Like
he is, and he's very good. He was in The Crown. He was one of the better parts of The Crown in the season he was in.
So it really is like mainly the classic Doctors. Just kind of it became their whole careers, kind of all of them, except maybe like Sylvester McCoy kind of went on to do other stuff too. But it's a lot of the rest of them that was like their whole thing.
Yeah.
It's actually funny if you look at like young pictures of Patrick Troughton. He was a very handsome young man before he got cast as like silly, goofy, fucking dumbass looking second Doctor with his little like fucking whistle that he plays or whatever. Like you see photos of him when he's not dressed as the Doctor, and it's like, oh wow, he was like this guy was like on stuff as the handsome romantic lead or whatever.
To be fair,
you could probably see it.
To be fair, he did have that sort of silly, goofy image before they picked him up for Doctor Who.
Okay, yeah. Well, speaking of like romantic, whatever, I did want to mention, talking about Doctor Who, the fucking Tom Baker and Lala Ward. The series has got a romance thing, especially nowadays it
Yeah.
Yep.
does. With David Tennant and, well, not Christopher Eccleston, also
Yep.
9 and 10, and Rose, and then Amy Pond. I was watching some stuff with Clara earlier where I guess by spoilers for the fucking 12th Doctor, big spoilers.
You're gonna want to put specific episodes on that.
Very big spoil for a lot of it, basically.
Actually,
and also the 11th Doctor.
No, hold on. I would say probably no spoilers for anything past
All
like
right.
Ninth Doctor.
All
Unless
right,
it's
all
like
right.
broad strokes spoilers. No
Well,
saying
he-
that like Gleeble
does-
Deeble shits his pants in episode
Yeah.
14 and that, changes the game for everything.
Okay. He does something very, very, very. He goes to very, very, very extreme lengths to save a person. And it could be viewed maybe as a romantic thing, not really in his case as much as it is, but like with like Rose in that scenario. But
Yeah.
they definitely have a lot of that. I don't know. What is your takes, folks, on the romance angle in Doctor
I don't
Who?
see 12. Well, we'll just go ahead and say that the Doctor does go to extreme lengths to save Clara,
Yes, specifically Clara, yeah. But
And I don't think that's. I think Gabe you might be on the same page as me.
Yeah,
but
it's
I don't
not
think
really
that's-
romantic.
Yeah, it's
It
more.
kind of was with
non-
11, but not 12.
Yeah,
for
it's-
11, yeah. For
it's
12,
more non-romantic.
Yeah.
Okay. Non-romantic soulmates.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
how I heard
Yeah.
it described. And yeah,
Well,
it's
And
basically
even then
that.
it's more of a case where it's just 12 is such a harsh person that she's kind of the only friend he has.
Yeah.
And I don't think he actually thinks he can make another friend, which is part of what actually plays into his final season, where he kind of just like goes off and tries to get better at interacting with people, get better at getting to know people, but still kind of keeps himself separated. So I think in the case of 12 and Clara, it's much more of a like, you're the only person I've got, and I'm gonna miss you if you're gone kind of thing.
Yeah, that isn't really a romance thing, but there's definitely been scenarios. A couple months ago I watched the two-parter from series 2 with the Cybermen, where I guess spoilers for David Tennant's era. Series 2, big series 2 2006
Okay,
spoilers over
let's
here.
we'll just not do that.
No, it's
that's the
fine.
thing.
We wanna let-
Yeah, I want people who listen to this and are intrigued by it to go and actually watch the show.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say anything too specific. I just there is a thing that happens in that episode that's similarly like a big romantic moment. The kind of the height of romance in the series was like David Tennant and
for
Billy
sure.
Piper. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of continued after there. There was some stuff with Martha or whatever. There was the whole era in the early 2010s of Super Who Lock and all of that, where they were kind of people. I don't know if they were pushing it as much as people wanted them to push it.
People pushed it.
They really did.
People did.
They had stuff. Oh, the other big one you can obviously name is River Song. That's I guess the other kind of the main like romance of Doctor Who, I guess. Especially in the modern era, and like people really liked that, and I guess it was popular, so they continued doing it a bit. It's a thing that they still kind of people still want though. Like there was a lot of people would say that the Jodie era, like what's the name? It's Yaz, I think, is the one that she's with.
Yes.
Yeah, and they don't really develop too much with that. It's kind of I've heard the term queer baiting. But like people still kind of ship the Doctor pretty often. I mean, there's always going to be shippers, but it's really popular with Doctor Who for some reason.
Yeah.
So I will say, let's finish up the synopsis of at the very least the overview of the series before we get into any more remotely spoilerish things.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
After which we can say, hey, spoilers from here on out. We're not going to be giving you
Listen,
basic information on the show.
Listen, in Gingledoof's quest to get the Doctor, he eventually does. I'm just gonna spoil it now.
I can't believe you said this.
Listen, when the Black
I'm
Guardian
sorry.
meets the White Guardian, and then they meet the Gray Guardian, and then the Gray Guardian says that he's actually.
Whoa! We don't need to say slurs on this podcast.
Whoa.
Hold up here.
You can call them dogs. You can't. They're British
Whoa.
people, though. They're not people. Come on.
What did I say?
Don't worry about it.
You tried your best.
Anyways, synopsis.
Yeah. So, the third Doctor, he was very successful. The fourth Doctor knocked it out of the park in terms of success.
Yeah.
It
was the biggest.
massive. It was wild. And that's when I think Doctor Who hit its height in popularity. It definitely hit its height in like episode views, because the most viewed episode of Doctor Who is City of Death. I think the first one.
Okay.
Which, admittedly, that's mostly due to circumstances, but still, like, it really it speaks to the time. Doctor Who was big because it was one of the only things on, and when the other things that were on stopped being on because of a strike, people go to Doctor Who because it's the only other thing on.
Yeah. And
Which,
then, I mean, it's funny because very shortly thereafter, like, this was like the height of it, and then like, BBC always had kind of an issue with Doctor Who, even though it was popular. Like, they always were underfunding it, and like, there was just always drama, especially with the Sixth Doctor. We'll get into it, but there was always drama with that, and the Fifth Doctor. I remember seeing like a couple of Fifth Doctor serials, and just the effects were never amazing, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at a thumbnail here from Destiny of the Daleks where there's these guys that have like, it's not even effects, but it's the guys with like the fucking tinfoil hair, and I don't know, like, yeah, the effects were never incredible. But in the Fifth Doctor's era, they took a real steep fall off a cliff, and it kind of continued right up until it like ended with the Seventh.
The reason for that is I'm working on the thumbnail. Accidentally did something stupid. The reason for that is because around that time, the BBC controller Michael Grade just hated Doctor Who. Like he basically said, "Oh well, this sucks. It's not like Star Wars." Which is not, it's only a little bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
But he hated it and he wanted it off the air. So after the Fourth Doctor's era, starting at the very end of the Fourth Doctor's era, you get John Nathan Turner as showrunner, essentially. He didn't help things. He redesigned the Fourth Doctor's very iconic, multicolored scarf, kind of brown coat, very multicolored outfit into something that was mostly just kind of burgundy and purple. And then starting with the Fifth Doctor, he just has like a lot of weird costume decisions, like,
I like them. I don't know. The last three Doctors have very
that was really funny.
Interesting.
The last three Doctors have very fun costumes. Is 5 and 7 both have like just question marks all over them? Are that's both of them, right?
5 doesn't have any question. Well,
okay, it's just 7 then.
I think 5 has question marks on his lapel, actually.
Okay, yeah, no, they have some of that, and I don't know, it's very goofy. Like, one of them, like, because the Sixth Doctor, I haven't ever seen anything from him, but I know that he was, like, fairly unpopular for a lot of reasons, but one of the things was that he was it was, like, kind of, I don't know, darker or, like, more grim or something, and yet his outfit is, like, the most ostentatious fucking dandy motherfucker you've ever seen.
If you haven't already, don't let this taint your perception of the series, but look up the Sixth Doctor's outfit. It is...
I would say...
It's clown vomit.
That tells you all you need to know.
It really does, because, like... Just Jesus Christ. It tells you all you need to know about John Nathan Turner's fucking costuming. Because like the Fifth Doctor, he was in like a cricket outfit.
Yeah,
And he
the
had
cricket outfit with
celery.
Celery in his pocket.
Celery, not in his pocket, on his lapel.
Oh,
like
sorry.
his jacket
I thought it was
lapel.
in the lapel pocket. No, you're
No,
right.
it's on it.
Just
It's like
on
pinned
it.
to it.
Do people generally not like 5 through 7's outfits? I think they're
people like
very
5.
fun.
People like 5, and they like 7's
Okay.
outfit a lot too.
I don't really hear anything negative about 6. I just don't think people talk about 6.
People don't like
I'm
6 in
personally
general.
not that big on 5 through 7's outfits.
I like
Dang.
5, and I enjoy the question mark motif of 7, but I think the motif is a bit much on 7.
Yeah, there is a lot of it.
There's a little too many question marks, and he has his question mark umbrella, and he has at one point I think he has a scarf that has question marks on it too. So it's very like it's a little too much, you know.
Yeah.
We're really asking a question of who is the Doctor. Yes.
And they never addressed any of it.
Yes, we'll pretend that's how it happens. So
Pretend.
So basically, throughout that point, it was more. I think John Nathan Turner focused more on the superficial aspects of a lot of things, and kind of he didn't start to let the story suffer. The Fifth Doctor has a lot of amazing stories. I mean, one of the most
people. David Tennant's favorite Doctor is the Fifth Doctor. A lot of people's favorite Doctor.
That might be because he's
married to his daughter. Yeah, that too.
But
I think that was
he grew up.
Yeah,
he grew up with the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah, a lot of people love him, but yet it's like apparently the budgets were getting cut, the viewers were dropping. You hear a lot of these like horror stories about the Fifth Doctor onward. Like, oh,
see, that's the thing. The Fifth Doctor has some great stories. You have Castrovalva, which is his first story. He does great in. You have Black Orchid, which I really like. You have
I like Black Orchid too. Yeah, Black Orchid's good.
Kinda and Snake Dance, Arc of Infinity, The Five Doctors, which those two not really as well, revered in the community. Well, a lot of people like The Five Doctors, but they also say that it's not that great.
Yeah.
But you hear a lot of people, a lot of people really like a lot of the Fifth Doctor stories. I mean, even his outro is it is consistently voted to be like the best classic story, Caves of Androzani.
Oh yeah,
and it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
but
I've seen a few of his episodes. I forget which ones, but yeah, I've enjoyed what I've seen.
Doctor Who started to be less and less in the zeitgeist around that point, and the Sixth Doctor is what really killed it, which sucks because I love Colin Baker. He does great work with Big Finish, but
yeah,
the Sixth Doctor's TV stories are awful.
The Sixth Doctor and the Eighth Doctor are the two who, if you're a long haul trucker listening to this, you've got fucking stories to listen to for days, because apparently
that's the thing. Five
both
and
of them
seven also
shine in the audio.
5 and 7 also have a lot of audio stories, but
there's
consistently they're consistently as good as their TV counterparts. 6 and 8, top tier compared to their like TV counterparts.
Yeah, like I've heard a lot of people say that 8 and 6 are some of their favorite like Doctor Who stuff in the audio drama stuff. Like apparently they completely redeem Colin Baker. And what exactly is it with Colin Baker that people don't like?
Oh, that's a big question.
I mean, immediately at the very end of Caves of Androzani, he basically berates his companion for being
Doesn't he like hit her or something?
No, he tries to strangle her.
He tries to strangle her at the beginning of the next episode. And then he just kind of consistently has bad stories. Like the only 2 exceptions I can think of are Vengeance on Varos, which is really, really good. Like shockingly good.
It is, and it has really excellent writing. Like all throughout it, the writing is like, wow, this is really good.
And then there's Revelation of the Daleks, which is just like, that was a fine Dalek episode.
Yeah.
Everything else is just like,
but
story quality suffered.
What about the Trial of the Doctor?
Okay, so the Sixth Doctor had one season 22, and everyone was like, cool, we're going on to the next one. And then
Oh my god, Colin Baker had question marks too. They all did.
Yeah,
all three of them
did. Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay, that is stupid actually. That's not just one of them.
So Michael Gray, he said, nah. and he put Doctor Who on wait for, I think it ended up being a year, but this is where Doctor in Distress comes from, by the way.
Yep.
You know, the famous opening lines, 18 months is too long to wait. But I'm not gonna sing that. I should though. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
Doctor in Distress. Yeah, that's
Let's
a good
all
one.
answer his SOS. All right, so where was I? So eventually, you know, there was a letter writing campaign, call-ins, all that stuff, and eventually they let him come back for season 23.
And which year? This is like season 2023. Okay, so it's like 84 to 86. Okay,
Roundabouts, yeah.
right.
But at this point, the writers were like, okay, all right, let's make this story about what's happening with Doctor Who right now. So they put the Doctor on trial, and I think the most transparent allegory for current world events that the show has ever had.
Yeah, it's really, really, really funny just how obvious it is.
So here's the thing. The stories themselves aren't that great.
No.
However, the interlinking parts, they're pretty good. It's just
Yes.
it's just the interlinking parts, which you have to watch all of them to get them. So that's a bit of a shame. He was unceremoniously
So he got one season of like a good attempt at Doctor Who, and then another season that was like a weird meta commentary on Doctor Who being canceled or
Quite
whatever.
literally, yes. Yeah.
There are only
That
4 stories, by the way.
sucks.
4
that sucks.
stories. Mysterious Planet, Mind Warp, Terror of the Vervoids, which has the vagina monsters,
Hell.
and The Ultimate
Oh.
Foe. So yeah,
Man, that really
4
sucks.
stories.
And it sucks
So-
because they introduced companions, like, that's where Mel got introduced, right?
Yeah, they introduce companions before they're actually introduced.
Yeah.
Like, Mel doesn't have an introduction, like, as a companion. She just kind of shows up.
Yeah, she shows up in Terror of the Vervoids, I think. And she
And then-
shows around for what?
Perry, like,
She's around for, I think, through to
Oh.
the end of season 24, and then she's just...
oh yeah. I
Um,
thought you meant like during the episode. I had to remember. Ugh.
No. And then there was Perry as well, yeah.
Yeah, so Perry is shaved bald, killed, but then not killed. They really did not do her justice. Perry was cool. So yeah, Colin Baker after that was unceremoniously fired over the telephone. And for the regeneration scene at the beginning of the 7th Doctor's era, they had him dress up in a Colin Baker wig. What a shame.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah. No, it's just funny how much like it's funny how much fucking to do they draw. Like so much attention they draw to the regeneration scenes now. It's like a huge event, and back in the day they just have the fucking actor dress up in a wig.
Yeah.
They did not give a shit.
So the 7th Doctor's era is pretty well loved by a lot of people. I'm not really big on it myself personally, but
There's some really good stories.
Yeah.
There's just not... They're not consistent.
yeah.
Like, he got... oh god, what's that one story that I really, really like? Curse of Fenric.
Yeah, Curse of Fenric's great.
I know
Curse of
people have
Fenric-
said Ghostlight is a popular one.
Ghostlight, I love Ghostlight.
Curse of Fenric is cool because it starts off as like kind of a standard Doctor Who story, and then it evolves into this like focus on this reverend who's struggling with his faith after seeing that the British bombed the Germans during World War II, because that's when it takes place, and how it completely changes his view of his country and his faith, and it becomes a story focused on that for a little while. And you're just sitting there like, wow, this is really well done. and then it kind of moves on, and you're like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, and then the next episode has the Master as a cat, and then they stop the show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
The
a
Master is a cat boy this time.
It didn't really get a finale or anything. It just kind of fucking cuts off at season 26. And
yeah, they did add this kind of finale type speech at the very end of Survival, where Sylvester McCoy's talking about somewhere that there's adventure and somewhere else the tea's getting cold, which I think is a pretty fine finale if you take it by itself.
Yeah.
But I'm not big on Survival as the last episode of the.
No, and the problem is that next time we see him is the TV movie.
He gets fucking shot.
Yeah, so the TV movie, that was a big thing that people made fun of like 10 years ago.
We can't talk about the TV movie unless we talk about the 7 years of build up to it.
Yes.
Where the BBC was being very non-committal about bringing the show back, because it wasn't outright canceled. It was just, oh yeah, we've decided to not follow through with another season. Maybe if you write some more letters, we might.
And also, like, part of the whole push for the TV film and part of why it like takes place in America and has American actors in major roles.
They wanted to do an American reboot of Doctor Who.
They wanted to do an American reboot, but they also didn't know what to do with the British series. So instead, they tried to make the TV movie the start of the new Doctor Who, continuing the old series as an American reboot.
Yeah, it was very strange.
It was
I don't know.
Here's the thing. It sucks that it didn't go through, but I'm also very glad that it didn't go through, because some of the things they planned were fucking stupid.
They were so stupid.
Like the Master being the Doctor's brother, actually, for real.
The whole
and
fucking
spider
thing
Daleks.
was very dumb. Half human on my mother's side.
We all ignore that. We ignore that line. That's the thing, though. The movie's fine. It's a good movie. It's just it has some issues.
Yeah, issues that hint at bigger problems down the line, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember when I was first getting into Doctor Who in like 2011 or something, there was this announced Hollywood Doctor Who movie that was supposed to be happening in, I think, 2016. And I guess it just never fucking materialized. I don't know
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Was it Curse of Dr. Mysterio?
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think it ever came out. I think it was supposed to be like a big budget, like, they were gonna like Godzilla gets an American movie kind of deal. They get like a new Doctor Who American movie continuity or some shit. We would get the Doctor Who cinematic universe, hypothetically, which thank God that never happened.
Yeah, don't even think that.
Dr. Mysterio was a separate thing. That was there was never like a Dr. Mysterio project planned.
Yeah.
It was always just there was the Return of Dr. Mysterio Christmas.
Oh, Return of Dr. Mysterio. Not
yeah,
Curse.
it was just the Christmas special. It wasn't anything bigger than that. It was
I thought he saw that there was a big thing, and I thought, okay, well, the Christmas special came around that
No. Yeah, that was separate. That was just its own thing. They were discussing for a while making an American Doctor Who film, like outright, but that went nowhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after the TV movie, I can see that just not, materializing. Yeah.
The TV movie. Here's the thing: it was successful in Britain, but it wasn't successful here. And you want to know why it wasn't successful here?
What's that?
Roseanne.
Yeah.
John Goodman's character had a heart attack the previous week.
Right.
The Doctor Who movie aired that same night. And
God.
Nobody fucking watched it because everyone wanted to see what was going on in the Roseanne Barr show.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Wow. I mean, like, oh, wow. They could have...
really a case of wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
I mean, because if it was like any other part of the fucking schedule, like, I'm assuming John Goodman's character wouldn't have had a heart attack and the ratings wouldn't have been like that. Like, They couldn't have even anticipated, like, yeah, we can't drop this new thing here. Roseanne's our biggest show, because it was only their biggest show at that point, I'm assuming,
I think it
because of
was
that
Roseanne
huge
was-
spike.
I think Roseanne was a competing network.
No, because it was on
Okay.
Fox.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Damn. That sucks.
No, it's crazy.
That
Yeah.
sucks for Doctor Who.
Oh, that really sucks. Well, no, but I mean, does it though? Because again, like, it could have been.
Fair.
I said that the continuity never got that fucked with, but if they really, I mean, I don't know, they could have
committed.
salvaged it, I guess.
Maybe. But yeah, like after that, how long was it between then and Doctor Who's return? It was 5 years, right? Because it was 2005 when Doctor Who came back.
Yeah.
But it was
And-
96 when the TV movie came out, so it was
Was it
closer
96?
to
I thought it was
Yeah.
2000.
No,
96.
No, you're right.
That
You're
was
right. Yeah,
2000.
it was almost a decade later. Doctor Who came back. You're right. Yeah.
So, how long was it? How long was it between the survival and the TV movie?
7 years, right?
7 years. Okay.
And then it was
Yeah,
9
89 to
years.
96.
Series came back.
So there was like and what's crazy is there was a full generation there. You know, obviously, like, I didn't know what the fuck Doctor Who was until it came back and started to get popular. But, like, you know, in Britain anyway, there was a huge generation, a whole generation there of kids who were still getting Doctor Who media, and it was still popular, and it still had a presence. There was still, like, Dalek shit all over the place. And, like, the last thing that came out was some TV movie in the fucking 90s that nobody really liked that much. And then before that, it was like a show in the 80s that nobody was really watching that much. And yet still just constant media. And so,
it constantly got new books, comics, audio dramas after 1999, which is when Big Finish started. And like there were like these unlicensed Factor Lou or something where it would be called like The Visitor or something like that. And it would be like knockoff Doctor Who that doesn't use any of the it's legally distinct Doctor Who is what it is.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think I might have seen Linkara look at a comic about that at some point. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then there was that whole gap, and like you said, things were still like Doctor Who was still around in the UK,
there was
but it was kind of hitting a point of like,
Yeah.
you know, public interest had fallen off, but people still knew about it. It was still a staple. And then,
fans were still getting stuff.
but that's the problem with when they brought it back was the BBC didn't really fully commit to bringing back Doctor Who, which caused Christopher Eccleston's first season, Nine's first season, the revival series, to have all these production troubles.
Yeah.
Where, like, that's a big reason why Christopher Eccleston didn't stay, is because he couldn't deal with all of the production problems and he thought that the whole thing was a disaster.
Yeah. And it really is a shame Christopher Eccleston hasn't come back. I think he's not on good terms with the show and with the staff. He's it's a shame because Caddy, speaking of, Caddy says that 9 is his favorite Doctor.
Which is totally fair. 9 is an excellent.
9's great.
Great Doctor. No, he's got one season, but he's very memorable. He's very, you know, it's not easy to be the 9th, you know, white guy in his 40s or whatever playing the same character and yet bring your own interpretation of it, and he does. And you know, he gets one season to shine, and there's a lot of really, really solid classic episodes in there. The revival of Doctor Who, you know, the Rose episode, I remember watching it at one point and just being like, this is like a perfect like pilot for what this show is.
Yeah,
you know, because like it's still part of the old continuity, but you kind of don't know that at the beginning. You think maybe this is just a new Doctor Who, we don't know. But then, you know, it's that kind of gets unraveled with time. But then also it's focusing mainly on Rose and her, you know, it's called Rose is the name of the episode, and it's all about her perspective on just a day in the life of the Doctor, basically. Not even like any particularly crazy thing. Just, oh yeah, there's just some plastic people that are showing up and like attacking and replacing people, and it's, for her, it's the most horrifying thing she's ever experienced in her life. For him, it's a Tuesday. And you know, And they run a whole lot, yeah. And Mickey's there. Don't forget about Mickey. You can't
I
forget about
always
Mickey.
forget about Mickey.
Everybody
Rose forgot
forgets
about
about
Mickey.
Mickey.
Yeah, Rose quite literally forgets Mickey exists and then goes, "Oh right, yeah."
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
Mickey.
it's that guy.
And 8-Bit
And
Mickey.
but here's the thing: is that 9 has audio stories, and some of them are really good. Actually, as recently as was it May of this year, he had some more.
Really? He came
Yeah.
back for those?
Yeah, he's been doing
Yeah.
them since 2001. No, sorry, what am I
Yeah,
talking about?
not yeah.
2021. 2021.
Yeah.
2021. Okay, yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'll have to
I
take a
think
look
he
at
did
those.
some before then, but I don't know how many. I think
Tristan.
most of the ones where it was him voicing the role are from 2021 onwards.
Okay. Tristan, you're gonna have to hit me up with that super legitimate link to all those Big Finish audios again, because I got
sadly,
some
I've
Oh.
lost it.
Oh dang. Well, let me know if you find any. But
Sure.
But yeah, he did quite a few audio stories, and I've listened to some, and they're really fun. There's a
nice.
fun one called Auld Lang Syne, which has him, and it's kind of a similar thing to the Capaldi episode, The Caretaker, where it just focuses on this woman in a retirement home, if I remember right, and he's the caretaker there. And all this weird stuff starts happening, and she gets pulled into it, and he's like, "Oops." It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I always love like a lot of the best Doctor Who episodes are ones that just focus on like again, Rose, before she becomes Rose Tyler as a companion, she's just some lady, and
Yeah, it
it's
works for
like
like
a
a
lot
department
of
store.
yeah, and it's like I don't know, like Blink or something later on, where it's just an episode that barely focuses on the Doctor, more so obviously in Rose, but a lot of episodes in the show will like just kind of focus heavily on like a side character, or maybe not a side character, but somebody who isn't the Doctor,
Well, yeah.
and he'll be the side character, in that episode, and that's always great. I always like that.
Yeah, I will say a lot of people, since there are probably going to be some people who watch this who aren't into the show. A lot of people are going to recommend that you start with one of those, specifically Blink.
Do not
I would
start with
recommend.
Blink. It's a
Yeah,
good
I would recommend
episode, but
against it. It's great,
yeah.
but it's not a good. It's not a good
Not a good starter.
demonstration. Not a good demonstration of what the show is and can
Yeah.
be.
It's
Yeah.
one that you will appreciate more after you've seen more of the show.
I
Yeah.
would definitely say there's no reason not to just start with Rose series 1, episode 1,
Yeah, it's a great
and
one.
just watch onward from there. There's a few that are like not quite as good, but all of the first series is pretty great. Like mostly like at least like a 6.57 out of
Yeah.
10 in
Yeah,
quality.
I feel like
And-
that's most of the early series is like, besides some of the stuff with like Adam, when he's there, most of it's just like, pretty
Yeah.
solid all around.
Adam, which one is that? Like the Simon Pegg episode?
Yeah,
The
it is. It's that
forehead
guy.
guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
So
he's
it's
only there
be-
for a couple episodes, but it's very disruptive where like 9 and Rose are so likable and you're seeing so much of them and you're having so much fun. And then you'll just cut back to Adam and he's just there.
he'll just be being a little shit.
Like
And
I
it's
don't
like-
remember Adam, so that says a lot about it, I'm sure.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
then like
So-
when you I don't know.
So
Nine-
with
Nine's
that,
good.
yeah, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say spoilers from here on out.
Right.
You
Yes.
don't complain about spoilers. Spoilers from here on out. If you don't,
So
if
how
you,
about when
if
they
you're
say
interested, if you're
Bro.
interested, go watch it.
his name is Dr. Simon? I can't believe it.
I cannot believe they revealed his name to be Dr. Funkenstein.
I can't believe the doctor's daughter is actually his wife.
I love how I love how much he tries to push Dr. Disco and Dr. Funkenstein in that episode.
Okay,
It's like I
but
really
so
wish
much
it. Yeah, I really wish that did take off more.
No, I do. I will always forever love the fact that Jenny is played by Georgia Moffat, who is married to David Tennant and is the daughter of the Fifth Doctor and plays the Doctor's daughter.
Yeah.
And her name is Moffat, and I guess is not related at all
it's
to Stephen
it's
Moffat.
with an E.
It's with an E on
Okay,
it. Yeah.
all right.
I find that so funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, like Nine's run is good. Nine's run is really solid. Like it has the like growing pains of episodes like Boomtown.
Yeah,
think
like
Big
they're
John's
not
great.
all perfect, but
I'm not
there's
saying
some.
those episodes are like terrible. I'm just saying like it's very clear that they were figuring out the tone of the series, you know?
Yeah,
It's
and I
funny that
mean,
a lot of the best episodes of that season were sorry. The best two-parter of that season was written by Stephen Moffat.
yeah,
The Empty Child, Dr. Dances.
Yeah.
yeah,
And like
For me, my
it's
favorite's written
funny
by
to see
Robert
that.
Shearman.
The Robert
Um,
Shearman episodes are very good.
Dalek.
Dalek is a great episode. He did he did a bunch of Big Finish novels. He did some of the
and
audio stories. His
the
stuff is
thing
good.
is, like, we talk about this episode might not be everybody's favorite or whatever, but like I always really enjoyed the one you mentioned earlier where they're in like the space traffic jam. I know that's the next season of
Gridlock
the
is
Gridlock is
series.
a lot of fun. Yeah,
fantastic.
it's a really fun episode.
I never see that one particularly brought up as like a classic, but another one that I really like is I think it's the second one from series 9, where they're at the last moments of the end of the world or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's End of the World. Yeah,
End of the world,
it's the end of
yeah.
the universe.
Okay, yeah, and it's again, I don't see people bring it up as like a super classic episode, but it's one of my favorite from series 9, and so. Oh, and another one. It's another later one. People don't like this episode. Fucking Daleks in Manhattan or whatever.
Yeah,
I
people
know
don't
we get
like
to.
that one.
They don't. I love it. I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I wouldn't like it now, but I
Okay.
remember thinking at the time, like, wait, people don't like this. This is really fun. I love it. It's great. So, like, any episode could be somebody's favorite, you know?
That's true. Any episode of Doctor Who could be someone's favorite. Some of them you would be
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, we
They
haven't
could
started
be.
talking about Love and Monsters yet.
No, Love and Monsters is a classic though. I was
Yeah,
thinking
Love and
Fear.
Monsters is actually good. People
I'm
hate it
joking.
because they're stupid.
They do, yeah.
I will say, Claw, Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks are episodes that are really cool when you watch them for the first time, and then you watch them again and go, "What's going on?"
Oh yeah, I can't wait. My stance is totally gonna change. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna
Especially
see
with
them again.
little young Andrew Garfield there going, "Hey guys, everything's kind
right.
of weird going on here. I don't
Yeah, he is in
understand."
there. That's
Um,
great. Well, I do have a note about that in my thing of notes. There's no other. Well, okay, actually, there is a good place to put it in here. Jack Harkness is an actual. But John Barrowman is the actor's
Tom
name.
Barrowman, yeah.
John
Yeah.
Barrow.
He's Canadian or American? I think he's American.
American.
John Barrowman is American, yeah.
Yeah. I always assumed, like, even I had to check a few times that he wasn't just a British guy doing an American accent.
Well, to be
'Cause he
fair,
kinda-
he's Scottish American, and he does have a Scottish accent that he lets come
Oh,
through.
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
You'll-
Yeah, all right.
You'll
That
notice it more if you remember Legends of Tomorrow. He'd slip into that.
Or Arrow as well.
Yeah.
When he's
Okay.
in those shows, you can hear a little bit more of his actual accent come through.
I don't even remember, but yeah, no, like I had just have a note for all of the times that Doctor Who has people that are supposed to be American or Canadian or whatever, and it's always there's always like again, I didn't even know he was actually suppressing an accent. I know he's apparently American, so I just assumed he's American. Sounds American, but no, that makes sense because they all kind of talk like this. Hi, I'm American. Hi there, I'm from Texas. I was watching the one earlier today from what is it, Series 10, I think, or Series 9, the one with Heaven Sent. It was the Zygon episode where they're in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. And we're gonna get to it, but just they have people. I have a lot to say about that in particular. It's funny, but they have people in that episode who are like talking in this American accent, and yeah, just like the moment you see somebody walk into a room and you're in an American city in a scene, and you're like, just immediately the way they're gonna sound, and they're like, all right, drop the gun, all right, I'm American. I don't know. It's always been that way since the classic series. I think has had Americans in it every now and then, It's just always fun. It's always enjoyable. There's never like just an American actor who's in London at the time. They always have to get a domestic guy to put on a phony accent, and it's always great.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of my favorite things about Doctor Who is like how British it all is. Where
Yeah.
even in episodes that are like, I mean, yeah, this is a British thing, so of course everything is British. Even then, they kind of go a little too hard on the British stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember The Idiot's Lantern? Season 2
Yeah.
of David Tennant's run, the one where the villain is.
Another one people don't like very much, yeah.
To be fair, that's a very weird episode.
Yes.
But I love that the villain of that episode is the most quintessentially British woman possible on a TV.
Yeah, she's like what's her name from Harry Potter? Umbridge, basically.
Yeah, she just looks like a British lady, you know?
Yeah. She's just
because
someone's nan.
Because she's specifically based on an actual TV host from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
But it makes it feel even more British, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have a thing that I wrote down about because, like, so again, the Zygon episode I watched, there's a part where they point out specifically that, like, and it's nothing new to Doctor Who. It's just I noticed it today was that someone like turns their head to someone else and just like, oh yeah, and the Zygons took over, and most of London, they're all over the world, but mostly it's London, and I'm just like, it's just funny how often that happens, isn't it? Because like in anime, it's mostly always stuff just happens to be crazy around Japan. There's a Godzilla just happens to be near Japan, isn't that wild? And then like in Marvel comics, it's always, why would you ever live in New York City? Oh my god, leave New York. Like every day there's like 15 insane bank robberies happening wherever you are. It's a PvP zone. And then it's the one Doctor Who's like the one thing where it's Britain that gets that treatment. And we don't have that yet. We don't have that yet for Canada, but
never go to London
yes, that too.
London or Cardiff if you're in the Doctor Who universe.
Never go to London or Tokyo, Kabukicho district. Kabukicho district in Japan in Christmas time, because you're either going to get insane alien invasions in London around Christmas time, or you're going to get horrible terrorism at a tower in Japan around Christmas time. So just maybe go somewhere else around Christmas time, if you're ever
Well,
be
the
careful.
thing I love, and it's perfect with that, is in the story, the Dalek invasion of Earth, you like only see them in England. You see them at Big Ben and Battersea Power Station and a couple other places, but it's like, oh my god, they're all over the planet. But all London.
And like Sonic Adventure 2 did a better job of having Eggman taking over the whole planet, and people are like in Baghdad looking terrified. But Doctor Who just has Big Ben. Oh, they're gonna get Big Ben. It's gonna be Little Ben now.
Eggman pissed on the moon.
Yeah, how do you like that, Obama?
Shadow fucked his wife, so
it's one of my favorite videos on the internet. But yeah, like you are right.
Speaking of Christmas specials though, 9 segued into 10 with a Christmas special, which I don't know if there was anything like that before in the old series. There
was one episode, part of the Daleks Master Plan, or was it? Yeah, it was the Daleks Master Plan.
It's Daleks Master Plan,
yeah, called the Feast of Stephen. And I don't know what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah, like the idea of a Christmas special like that didn't come around until Russell T Davies laid it out for the new series, where he wanted to do a tradition. He wanted to do like every year we'll do a Christmas special. So we had the Christmas Invasion, Runaway Bride, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And then they're all pretty damn good.
We all know, Chris Chibnall said, That's stupid.
No, I
We're
don't
gonna
want
do-
a Christmas special.
We're gonna do New Year's specials instead, and no one watched them.
Well, no one watched them for multiple reasons, but Jesus Christ, yeah, thank you, Chris Chibnall. Yeah, no, I always enjoyed the Christmas specials, and of course, like the anniversary, this year and 10 years ago is like November, late in November, so tightly packed Christmas specials and anniversary specials sometimes,
Well, yeah, because that's the whole idea this year is that the anniversary specials will be 25th, the 2nd, and the 9th, I believe, and then the Christmas special will be Chutigata's first episode, and that'll be on Christmas. So we're
Right.
getting those 3 specials of 14 and then the first of 15 within the same month as the last of the anniversary, which is nice. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think that's just really good scheduling on their part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we get like a whole little yeah, it's like a whole little mini season basically right there.
Kind of like what they tried to do with David Tennant's special season. But
Exactly.
Really
yeah.
fucking failed with that.
Yeah, that was bad.
Well, David Tennant, yeah. After
Speaking
one
of
season,
David Tennant,
yeah.
well, let's go ahead and continue on. So, David Tennant started off pretty strong. I gotta be honest, I'm really not big on series 2. So
Really?
yeah,
it's pretty mixed in my opinion.
It's the romance stuff that gets me.
Yeah,
I
I
get where you're
guess so.
coming
Yeah.
from.
It just kind of got annoying.
No, I don't know. I enjoyed the romance stuff relatively well at the beginning because I didn't have a frame of reference for, the old series or anything. And I guess I don't know. I found it enjoyable, but nowadays it probably, I don't know. It is something that's a little awkward now because it is so. I don't know. It is so just out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, at his 10th incarnation, he decides to start getting ninth. I guess he starts to get romantic. Well, yeah.
8 he starts and then he continues.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. There is like a romance thing. That is kind of where it begins. Is the TV movie is like the romance stuff in that, and he's like Didn't he kiss a woman in that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could construe it as more of like a I'm alive. I'm gonna kiss the nearest thing to prove that I'm alive.
Okay.
Something like that. Once we get to the 10th Doctor, it's unambiguous. Man is romantic.
I mean, even with the 9th, but yeah, especially with him. I mean, the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, is a bit of a gormless-looking individual. He's got big ears. But he seems, listen, he hates the royalty, so I'm sure he's great. But he's a bit of a straight, not conventionally handsome in the way that, I mean, David Tennant kind of looks a little bit like I've heard someone say that he looks like a parrot that has the disease where they lose all their feathers. And I can kind of see that. I've always said he kind of looks like a chicken man, like something about his hair and like his build. He's like a chicken man. I don't know, but he is like kind of attractive generally. And yeah, I guess they tried to push the thing with him and Rose. And yeah, series 2 is definitely the height of that for sure. You've got there's the ongoing relationship with him and Rose, but then there's also the girl the girl in the fireplace.
Yeah, that was a weird episode because it came like right in the middle of their romance.
Yeah.
And David Tennant was like just specifically going just to do a big kiss on Madame de Pompadour.
Yeah, but there's like reasons for it, and it kind of like strengthens parts of it. I don't know. It's interesting in a way, but even then, it's like they double down on the romance thing. Like, you got a problem with that? Well, here's a whole episode that's like focused on that.
See, the reason
people love that one too.
The reason I'm not big on series 2 is actually just because of how inconsistent it is. Where you start with Christmas Invasion, solid Christmas episode, really fun, great introduction to David Tennant, and then you get New Earth, which is fine.
I love that one. Right.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's another one where it's like nobody says it's their favorite, but it's one that I really like.
Then you get Tooth and Claw.
I hate Tooth and Claw.
I do too.
Yeah.
Then you get School Reunion, which is
School
fun.
Reunion's great. I love
It's
it.
great, but it's not like it's like a great episode of Doctor Who. It's just a really
That's
fun episode of
fair.
Doctor Who.
That's
And then
fair,
you
I
get Girl in the
guess.
Fireplace, and then you get the two-parter, and then you get that weird streak of episodes where you get the Idiot
Yeah.
Lantern, Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, Love and Monsters, Fear Her, and then the two-part finale.
Well, I will
Yeah.
say
Like an inconsistent season.
the two-parters are some of my favorite stuff in that
really
era.
For real,
I
yeah.
really love those two-parters. And then Love and Monsters is people joke about it, but it's a fun episode. And
Yeah, so
It
you
is.
know,
Idiot's Lantern, not really that good. It's just kind of weird and
No,
strange.
it's
Love and
yeah.
Monsters, a lot of people hate it. Personally, it's my favorite of this season, which I know
Wow,
is very
really?
controversial. Yeah.
It's
Although
fun.
it's up against it's very close with Impossible Planet and Satan Pit. That's
Yeah, I
a
was gonna
great
say
episode.
those
It's a
two
great
are
series.
also great. Like, there's three. This is a great. I don't know. I love this series because it's got the three two-parters, and then
And
it's
then-
got fucking New Earth. It's got the school one. It's got Love and Monsters. It's a great series.
And then you have Fear Her, which I think is my least favorite
Yeah.
episode of Doctor Who until of fucking Russell T Davies era.
yeah.
I hate it.
I don't know. I remember it being pretty boring. Yeah, I kind of mix it up with Idiot's Lantern, but yeah, it's
Fear Her
boring.
is silly because it tries to be a very, very serious story tackling legitimately very difficult subject matter of like
Yeah.
familial abuse and losing family and loneliness as a child and trauma. But it's also like a weird celebration of England hosting the Olympics. And they really like to go like, guys, we're hosting the Olympics. Look at us, the spirit of England. Look at this. And
This
it's
girl
like,
trapped all of the people who are going to be here in 2012 for the Olympics in a drawing.
it just doesn't blend well at
Yeah.
all.
Isn't that shit? Who wrote that one?
I'm pretty sure that was I don't think that was Russell. Hold on.
It's Matthew Graham.
Okay,
It's
I
the guy who
remember
did
seeing.
Rebel Flesh and Almost People.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense now.
Yeah, I think that is.
I don't
someone
hate
who-
those. I don't hate those episodes, but they're not fantastic.
Because I remember that's
Yeah.
one where I'm like, well, I know the guy who wrote that either did one that was really good or did like a couple others that were
Oh,
particularly.
He's
Oh,
a
you
not
co-creator
know
of
him.
Life on Mars.
I
What?
was gonna say you know him. 'cause
Wait,
he created
really?
Life on Mars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
And that's
He
why
made one of the greatest British television series ever made. Oh my god! Well,
that's also,
co-created.
that is literally why John Sims' character's name is Sam Tyler, is because he thought that Rose Tyler had a really good name.
Wow,
Nice.
that's so dumb. That's
he
great.
couldn't think of a reasoning for it, like a name. And then I think
He
he
couldn't
said his,
think of a name. Amazing.
and then I think he said his daughter said that he should use Tyler, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do that," without realizing that it was a character that he had written for already.
Yeah.
Oh. That's fun. Yeah, I don't know. I
Uh,
love series too. I think it's pretty good.
JC's pretty good.
It
But
is.
series 3, I've
yeah.
always heard is like the one that people think is really mixed.
Really? Oh,
Really?
that's because it's Martha. That's because it's Martha season, and Martha
People are
simultaneously gets
racist.
a lot to do and nothing to do.
Yeah, it
they don't-
does suck.
Yeah.
They don't really do a
Martha-
lot with Martha. She's not as important in a way as like Rose is, and coming off of the heels of, well, because
Yeah.
you get
Martha deserved so much better.
you get fucking what is it? You get Rose, and then the whole big deal with her with series 2. I'm gonna keep saying it wrong. Season. And then you get the Christmas special that has Donna in it.
Yeah,
Which is
And
great.
Great
by the way.
episode.
That's
Fantastic.
great episode, and she is such a fucking presence. I mean, Donna Noble's one of the best companions ever, basically.
We'll get back to that later.
We'll get to her later
Yeah.
because she shows up for that, disappears, and then Martha shows up, and yeah, after Rose dramatically leaves and there's that void, and then Donna shows up and somehow makes like a huge presence of her own. Like Martha had pretty big shoes to fill, and they don't do a lot with her. I always like her as a character.
Yeah,
but
genuinely, I prefer Martha to Rose. Just like 9 times out of 10.
As a character,
she's like a lot less annoying, but
as a
then
presence, like in the world, I love Martha Jones.
The problem
they do this like weird freedom fighter thing with her as it goes on.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
It's not great. I think her and Mickey, and I don't know if there's some reason why that happens.
Jesus Christ. I think we know the reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what Russell T. Davies was thinking putting them together, but we have a reason.
The problem with Martha is that she's introduced and it's immediately established, she's a medical student, she has knowledge when it comes to medical needs, she has this skill set, never do anything with it.
Actually, that's not quite true.
Well,
she does do something with it in the next fucking series.
Yes, in the series that she's not the companion in. And so they introduce this character. Smith and Jones is a fun episode. It's not like great, but it's
Smith
fun.
And Jones.
Shakespeare Code
is uncomfortable.
Exists.
Shakespeare Code is uncomfortable. They make a lot of racial comments about Martha Jones, and like
they do. It's the one.
Typically, they're positive, but they're weird.
Sense, like I don't know. It makes sense if you're gonna have like time travel on the show.
No, see, that's the thing. Thin Ice does that better.
Thin Ice does that very well.
But like at the very beginning, Martha's like, she's concerned about her race, and they're visiting Elizabethan England, and then the doctor's like, who cares? Just walk around like you own the place. I do it all the time. It works. I've never been black. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's probably.
And it's also written by a horrible person, so
Oh.
It also mentions J.K. Rowling, so
Yes. And then you get Gridlock. Gridlock is a really fun episode.
Gridlock
Daleks
is
Manhattan Evolution of the Daleks. Again, it's fun, but a lot of stuff just kind of happens.
And I remember enjoying it. I remember enjoying it because I remember people saying they didn't like it and being like, "No, that was a good one." But I don't know if it holds up.
The thing is, the next episode, the one after those two, is the Lazarus Experiment.
The Lazarus Experiment is sadly a pretty decent episode that is wrapped up in a big ball of god awful CGI.
And also, just it's a really good idea and a really great concept wrapped up in really bad execution. Not even just
I would say, big parts of it are pretty poorly executed.
You're unlocking memories for me here because I forgot about that one, but I think I saw that. Like I mentioned, I saw the special where they're on the bus. I think I saw that one on TV. And like one of my first fucking experiences with Doctor Who was that insane CGI monster. God.
And it's such a waste
it's
of Mark
It's a fun episode though.
Because Mark Gatiss is so good at what he does.
Is that how his last name is pronounced?
Yeah, it's Gatiss.
I thought you were saying someone different because I typically know him as Mark Gatiss.
Is it Gatiss?
That's how I've always heard it, but
or Gatiss.
I'm not gonna put my foot down and say that it's right.
Let me look. Mark. Oh, it is Gatiss. Oh, never mind. Mark Gatiss.
The thing is, here's the thing. Like, okay, God damn it, series 3. It's a little mixed, Shakespeare. I don't remember that one, and people have issues with the Daleks in Manhattan and that 2-parter. Lazarus Experiment's a little shaky with the CG, but it's a fun one. The rest of the fucking series, like over half of you got Bangers. 42.
Here's the thing. I'm not big on 42, but it's still
it's fun.
I don't even remember it that much, but I just know that it's a I like when I'm seeing it here and I'm like, oh yeah, this is one of those ones that people really like. Yeah,
genuinely, I think it's so fast paced that Chris Chibnall's awful dialogue just doesn't get a chance to shine.
Well, you want to talk about awful dialogue? I mean, I don't know. So we haven't even gotten to Blink is a couple episodes later. Human Nature and Family of Blood are often considered like some of the best
They
Doctor
are.
Who,
They're so fucking good.
if not, yeah, some of the best modern Who, if not Doctor Who in general.
Human Nature and Family of Blood is adapted from a Seventh Doctor novel that came out during the Wilderness years.
Yep.
Really?
And it really didn't need that many changes to just be an all-time classic.
No, it's already an excellent Doctor Who
Yeah.
novel that is just adapted to be even better.
Wow.
I don't know how.
Interesting. I had no
I think
idea.
it's what's his face? What's his name?
Paul
Hang
Cornell.
on. Well, yeah, that's who wrote it. By the way, I really hope he's the next showrunner. But I'm talking actors.
Interesting. It's not a name I'm familiar with.
Oh, are you talking
Apparently
about the young
Harry-
guy?
Harry Lloyd as Baines.
Yeah, Harry Lloyd is excellent.
He steals the show every scene he's in.
I haven't seen
love
this. I haven't seen these in years, but I have to watch it now because fucking Pip Torrens from Preacher is apparently a
He's the
Rowcastle.
schoolmaster.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, he's
okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I love him in Preacher. He steals the scene in every scene
Well,
in Preacher. So yeah, I have
And
to watch
Harry
that.
Lloyd is excellent. He's great in Game of Thrones. He's excellent in Legion. He's great in
Is he in
FF16.
Wait, he's in Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, he's Ultima.
Huh.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, interesting.
He's in Legion. He plays Charles Xavier.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Shit, that's
wow.
him.
Oh, I don't think I got that far in Legion. I gotta
And
continue watching that show.
he's like legitimately probably my favorite iteration of Charles Xavier as a character I've seen portrayed because he's so good.
Interesting. Yeah. I
and, like,
stopped in like
I don't know.
season 2 or somewhere.
It's such a good two-parter as well. Like the first part ends at the perfect moment when
Yeah,
they're
it
holding them all
is-
hostage and
And the
delivering
wildest
the line.
the wildest thing is neither of the parts have filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just naturally falls like that. It's so good. And it's
And
adapted
it's-
from a book.
And if I remember correct, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's another one that's kind of not directly focused on the Doctor throughout it,
It's more
right?
about Martha.
Yeah, it's more about her, and that's another one where like it's about her like position in the world as they time travel kind of thing.
Well, it's true because it is also about the Doctor, but it's more about the elements of himself that he wishes he could embody and live. Like it's about the fact that even though he is a Time Lord and he likes his life and his journeys, there is a piece of the Doctor that wishes he could just fall in love and live a normal life. And they do focus on
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah. It also unlike Shakespeare Code, brings up Martha's race in like an actually, of not dismissive way.
Kind of
Like
constructive way, yeah.
Well, there are racial comments made to her, and it's played as a bad thing because it is a bad
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
When she's given the position of a maid, right? She's not given anything more than that. And there's even
Right.
bits where, as a character, the Doctor, as John Smith, will say like, "You're just a maid. You're not fit for anything more than that." And you're like,
there was also the comment from Baines before
Baines
he
also says that, yeah.
Yeah, he says, quote, "With hands like those, how do you know if anything is clean?"
Oh,
Which is wild.
Ban that man from the chat room.
yeah. That is.
He's about to post an N and then an I, and we can't let him get any further than that, boys.
And man,
Ban
we
him.
follow-
You
by
cannot let
Elon
this
Musk
man spell
and-
nincompoop.
He'd be followed by Elon Musk instantly.
But yeah, like it's a great season of television overall, even with its little hits and misses.
I do want to specifically talk about the finale in a way that doesn't spoil anything.
The three-parter,
So
it's
yeah,
kind of
for
weird.
for those of you who are listening and still have stuck around, despite spoilers and still want to watch Doctor Who, leave. What are you doing here, you stupid invalid?
Well, hang on before absolutely, and also you're gay. But
that's not a bad thing. We're just
no,
we're pointing out the
that's not
obvious.
related. That's not related in any way to Ben. Yeah,
We're
but
just
it's
saying
proud of you.
it's time you
happen
realize.
It's everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Stop
So
lying
sexy
to
know.
yourself.
Stop
Live your
lying
best
to
life.
yourself.
We're
yeah.
proud.
Kristen, I want to know what specifically from the finale you're gonna mention.
No. Before we get onto the finale, Blink is one of the biggest episodes of the
All right,
entire
yeah,
show.
when you said
It's-
that, I thought you were moving on to the next season. I was like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I have opinions on Blink.
I don't
have
love
opinions as
Blink
well.
that much. Firstly, I want to say Stephen Moffat. I like a lot of the episodes he's done, and even like some of the good ones with 12. But God, his dialogue can fuck off. He's so pretentious, and he really thinks people just don't talk that way. It's okay when like a Time Lord is being all fucking mysterious, but when it's just Clara, you can fuck off. I'm sorry. I don't know, but that's not that bad in like Blink or anything. The episode's mostly fine. It's a good episode. It's just everybody says it's like the best. Start here, watch this one first.
That's
a good,
stupid.
fun episode.
Yeah.
And I'll say real quick, it invents a genuinely great monster.
It does.
That people have been copying for years,
and it's been really overused in Doctor Who in the few years since then.
It's their pyramid head.
Right after. But it has great tension, great direction. The only issue is if you're being introduced to Doctor Who through Blink, you're not getting a good idea of who the Doctor is, what he does, or the general structure of the show. Yeah, the structure and the tone.
Yeah,
because you're gonna think this is a fucking horror series.
But it's also like I like Blink. My problem with Blink is I saw it when it aired, and I went, "Oh my god!" Remember that was like my 4th episode of Doctor Who. I was like, this is amazing! Oh my god! And every time I rewatch it, I'm like, this is still good, but I've never had the same feeling as the first time I watched it. Meanwhile, with episodes I've watched since then, every time I rewatch them, even Family of Blood and Human Nature, every time I rewatch them, I get that burst of like, oh my god.
Well, the thing is, Stephen Moffat started writing episodes. I don't know what it was. I guess it would have been the
Curse of Fatal Death.
Wasn't it the child in the
for the revived series?
Yeah,
for the revived series of the show, he started with not Human Nature. Fuck, the Empty Child and the Dr.
Empty Child. Yeah, and those were great. Those are great episodes. I have no problems with those. I mean, they're a little corny here and there, but the Doctor Who is at its best when it's a little corny here and there. And I have no problem with those, but then you get to, and even there you can see a little bit of his kind of like almost like wistfulness, Matt Smith's whole era is he's like a fucking magic man, like whoop-de-doo Willy Wonka magician fairy tale man, and I don't care for it. It's not my jam. And you get a little bit of that in the Empty Child, but like Blink, you start to get some of that where it really plays up the Doctor as this mystery man. And oh, look at him go. Where's he off to next? Oh, and it's like a little bit of that. It's not to the point that it gets to with like the girl who waited and all of that shit, but it starts to hint at that, and I don't know, it just annoys me a little bit. I'm probably gonna watch it soon, and I'm sure I'll still like it because it's still a pretty cool episode overall. It's a very unique episode.
It's a good episode.
Blink
it's like
it's great.
It's Freno. It's freaking Kino.
The best way I can describe Blink personally is it's a bottle episode. And the problem,
it is the most bottle episode that a bottle episode could ever be.
Yeah,
to the point where it doesn't even have the main character of the show in it.
The problem with introducing a bottle episode to people, like we were saying before, is like, it's really good. It's a fun episode, and we all love it. But that's because we know what the show is like.
It's kind of It's like the One Piece Baron Omatsuri movie, where it's like. Yeah. It's a really cool piece of media you can watch and enjoy and it's related to the series, and you don't need any info about the series to get into
You'll get a little bit of character stuff. You'll get a little bit of world stuff.
Some of that, and you get some idea what it's all about, but then it's also the tone is like pretty radically different, most of it, and the format is fairly different. And I don't know if you want to... It's people say, like, oh, watch this one first. No, watch it. Watch it, like, third or fourth, maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
like,
if you specifically want to like start without like starting from like the beginning, yeah, jump around a couple episodes, maybe watch like
I mean, you could even just watch Smith and Jones at
I
that
mean,
point if you want
yeah,
to.
honestly.
Even then, this is an unpopular opinion, but it's one that I've held for years. I think Midnight is a better episode to start with than Blink.
I could see it,
Ooh.
yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
remember being in high school and having my teacher for an assignment play Midnight for our class. And of course I'd seen it. I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." Everyone in my class was like, "This is what Doctor Who is like." And I was like, "I mean, yeah, for the most part." And they were like, "That's really cool."
I mean,
like
I don't. I would say, yeah, it's better than Blink for that, but it is another
Yeah.
one where I remember, I just remember watching that the last time, and it's just this very anxious fucking episode that's like it gets your pulse pounding.
Oh yeah.
It's not like any other Doctor Who, but it's more like it in a way than Blink is.
Exactly. That's what I mean, yeah.
But yeah,
Talking-
it's very interesting.
Talking specifically about the ways to open the season, I know we're probably not even going to get on this because we're at like 2.5 hours, but Mummy on the Orient Express is a great way to
Excellent
start.
episode. Mummy on the Orient Express is such a good episode, and I hate
I
that people
vaguely
look at it
remember
and
it,
go
yeah.
like,
It has no fluff, and I love it for that.
no, it's just front to back. There's some stuff between the Doctor and Clara. There's some stuff between Clara and the other characters. There's some stuff between the Doctor and the other characters, and there's the threat, and they just go with it, and it flows excellently.
Yeah.
We might get there. It depends on how
Well-
much we talk about Matt Smith. I'll be
We'll
honest.
try to get
Yeah.
through. Yeah, we'll try to get through it. I mean, series. God damn it, series 3.
After you,
You'll get it one day.
No, I gotta do it. God damn it. Series 3 ends though with like basically a 3-parter, and I have to say, I mentioned earlier in our chat, one of my favorite things that, like even old Who would do this pretty often. That the Doctor Who does is it will. So Utopia, right? It's an episode, perfectly ordinary episode. After being brought back to whatever, the Captain Jack Harkness, Jack Harkness is there.
I'll do a really quick synopsis at the beginning.
Sure.
So the Doctor and Martha land in Cardiff to refuel because there's a rift in Cardiff that spews out time energy. Captain Jack has been stationed there, and once he hears the TARDIS, he goes off running. That happened in the finale of Torchwood, which aired before.
Right, there's a whole
Captain-
sideshow like cinematic universe that's happening. Don't worry too much about it.
Captain Jack hangs onto the side of the TARDIS as the Doctor takes off in a hurry because he doesn't want to talk to Jack again. I guess he's mad at him for the allegations. But Captain Jack like hangs out on the side, and in an effort to fling him off, the TARDIS goes all the way to the end of the universe. Also, Captain Jack dies, but then he's brought back. He keeps doing that. He makes a habit of it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Captain Jack that's another whole thing. I mean, there's a lot we're not going to get into, but we're going to get into a very important thing just in a moment.
Yeah.
So this episode begins perfectly normally like any other Doctor Who episode. No indication that anything weird is going to happen. And then it hits you with this character throughout it. Professor Yana, it says here, played by Derek Jacobi.
excellent performance as Professor Yana. Yeah,
I love
Professor
Excellent
Yana's great.
performance. And the fucking... I mean, I don't know how well it hits on another reviewing. I think I've only seen it once, but the
It
first
still
time
lands.
you see it, and I didn't
still
even know who the character was. I had no idea who
Same.
that guy was. It turns out that he is the longtime Doctor Who villain, the Master, from like the old series. We didn't even talk
Yes,
about him.
Introduced in John Pertwee's era, he was sort of the overarching villain of his second 2 seasons. Just before the actor was tragically killed in an accident.
Oh, shit.
Brought back for the 4th Doctor as a crispy boy. Then he stole the body of one of his companions' father. And then he just kind of coasted by on that body for a while before being executed and turning into a cum and stealing the body of an ambulance driver. And that's the last we saw him.
Yeah, the Master is like basically his, I don't know, like school rival or whatever, his friend,
Yeah, friend
sort
frenemy.
of brother. Yeah. throughout the years on Gallifrey. I mean, we didn't even get into the lore of Time Lords and everything, but it's fine. Go watch the show. Yeah, they were like friends and enemies for a long time, and unfortunately, the Master was evil for various reasons. And
Unfortunately.
they try to make him more humanized in various ways later on, and
It works, I'd say.
it does, especially with Missy and some of
Yeah,
the
Missy's fantastic.
some of the John Sim stuff as well. Who I love Missy as well, but John Sim, I don't know, maybe it's just nostalgia. I'll
I will
always
say,
the
rewatching
fucking
John Sim stuff, I was like, oh, this is not as good as I remember.
maybe
Same, honestly.
Oh,
I
that's a
disagree
shame.
because for this episode, I rewatched those old clips. I still think it's a lot of fun and holds up
The-
for the time.
The fucking clips of him like gassing the world and he does the thumbs up and
Oh,
everything.
him dancing
it's so
the
dumb.
fucking
It's
Scissor
great.
Sisters.
Yeah, it's
I
so
love
great.
that song.
I don't know. Maybe it hasn't all held up, but yeah.
It may not be perfect, but it's exactly like it's charming still. So
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, this regular episode that had nothing to do with anything in the main plot turns out to be, and it's leading up after like this whole thing in the season. God damn it, the series with John. What's his name?
sorry.
It, it's like John
Harold Saxon.
Saxon,
Yeah.
Harold
Harold
Saxon,
Saxon,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Vote Saxon, everyone.
Yes,
Vote
of
Saxon.
Vote Saxon 07 fame.
Of course. And
Yeah,
nothing
oh,
else.
no! Oh,
Nothing
God.
else at all. Yes.
Oh,
I love how Gabe just
Harold-
connected the dots there.
So another thing that I really loved about Doctor Who, I was a big fan of Lost and Fringe and a lot of the ways that they would string along like a plot from just some random thing in season 1 and
Yeah.
it would like become a thing 4 seasons later. And
Sometimes
Doctor
to great
Who would
success.
sometimes in a weird way, sometimes not so good, but sometimes really good. And it was a thing I loved to see happen. Doctor Who would do that too. Series 1 had the bad wolf thing going on.
Yep.
And they did some of that in the second series as well. Series 3, though, it started setting up the thing with Harold Saxon, and it's very minor. But yeah, you pick it up toward the end where, yeah, this guy who throughout this episode is just this old guy. Turns out he's this evil man, the Master. He transforms. It turns into the finale. And the finale, it goes completely the fuck off the rails. The Harold Saxon guy's running for Parliament or Prime Minister, I guess,
Prime Minister,
specifically.
yeah.
He won.
Yeah.
Real quick, a
He won.
little shout out though. The previous incarnation of the Master was Derek Jacobi.
Yeah,
Jack
we
is
mentioned that.
amazing.
Yeah, and he
Yep.
was great. And
shout out.
yeah, he becomes John Sim. I like him, but yeah, that episode is insanely dumb though. The Toclafane and
I love
all
the.
of that.
That's the thing. I love the build-up. It's the payoff for me.
Payoff.
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
good. The Doctor
It's-
becomes a little old gremlin man.
It's
And then-
so
and then- and
even
then
at the
Jesus.
time, it was so dumb. God, it's so
I need to
bad.
I need to say, every time, because this is what happens at the very end, to bring the Doctor back after he gets turned into a little old goblin.
Little goblin man.
He, basically, Martha goes around the world and has everyone like pray.
Yeah.
Essentially, yes. There's
And I
techno
believe in
babble
Santa
explanations,
Christ.
but it's
If you
basically
rewatch
praying.
it is literally the "I believe in Santa Claus."
It really fucking is.
God.
It kills me.
Oh, that's great.
It's so stupid. Like, I like those episodes, but that's so stupid.
Yeah, that's what's keep. I can't fucking speak. That's what's keeping me from like saying that the finale to series 3 was good.
Yeah.
Great at least. It's good, but you know that Dr.
gets
Jesus
very
ain't
fucking
exactly the
stupid.
play.
Yeah.
It's a bit dumb, bit silly.
Yeah.
Not
And
good
again,
silly.
like, when I say that John Sim's Master hasn't always held up, I do mean it very broadly in the way that it's like John Sim is always doing his best, but
Yeah.
the material he's being given, especially in his last appearance in the End of Time, there's a lot of stuff there where it was fun the first time, and then you rewatch it and you're like, oh, he has like nothing to do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's so hokey with some of the stuff when well, the regeneration and everything. We do want to step it along here, and was it then after that it was the specials
No,
seasons
there
or
was another one
whatever?
after that. You're forgetting Donna.
Oh,
So real quick,
that was
I do
after
wanna,
series 4 then? Okay.
yeah, real quick, I do want to add that in Last of the Time Lords, it is hinted at that the Vote Saxon abused his wife. If
Oh
you know,
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do directly discuss that.
Dear God, no.
so
Something about
there's
poetry.
yeah,
About that.
but yeah, it's like Utopia, best twist of the series, honestly.
Yeah.
And then you have, Sound of Drums, pretty damn good. Nice setup for a good payoff. The Last of the Time Lords, not a very good payoff.
No, it goes a little too far into like you said with like the freedom fighter stuff. It becomes like a post-apocalyptic series.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
gets
weird.
very silly.
Yeah, it's
But
Martha deserved better.
but you keep watching because there's enough there that's great, and
Yeah.
you're granted a whole. I don't.
Like
What was
that's the thing for throughout most of series 3, it's just been great. Like Gridlock,
Yeah.
fucking
And-
Human Nature, Family of Blood, Smith and Jones, Blink, Utopia.
And you get a bit of a weak payoff on the finale, and that's unfortunate. But you're still invested. And what do you get? What do you get when you keep watching for series 4? You get one of the best series.
Yeah, you also get the Titanic crashing into the TARDIS, which it happens.
Well, that also happens.
It happens to every guy.
Was that the one with
900s?
Was that the one with Kylie Minogue there? Or
Yes.
was that?
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about that one besides mentioning it because it's going to be relevant later.
Yeah.
I like it. It's just a bit long for my tastes.
Yeah. But series 4 is like one of the best of the current show, I'd say. I mean, you got like Donna throughout. You've got the fires of Pompeii. You get the Ood here. You get the Sontarans. You get the Doctor's daughter. You get the fucking Silence in the Library, which is Moffat, but it's pretty good.
It's the best Moffat, I'd say.
It sets up basically the entirety of his fucking run.
Yeah, I mean it does. Is that the one with River Song that starts that all off? Oh man, yeah. And it's crazy because the next we move on into Matt Smith, and it's basically like a full reboot. Like it feels different. Most of the old side characters are different. Once Stephen Moffat takes over and Matt Smith takes over, it feels like a completely different show, and yet they do plant a lot of that there in Silence in the Library, and that's great. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, so, and then you get. Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say Midnight Turn Left, the whole ending. Yeah. It's great. The whole series banger.
It's great the whole way through. Yeah.
I do want to go through them, at least a few of them specifically. Partners in Crime is just the definition of fun. It is.
Which one is this again specifically?
The Fat Walks Away.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. It's a lot like it's got Donna in it and David Tennant Doctor, which is that's why they're back now.
There's a lot of
you can't go wrong with them. Yeah, it's great. It's a lot like the Christmas special with her,
because a lot of people, even after The Runaway Bride, which was fantastic, a lot of people were doubting that Donna, played by Catherine Tate, who is very famously a comedian. Yeah, they were kind of doubtful that she could do something dramatic. And then the fires of Pompeii comes and just smacks him upside the head, says, "Fuck you, you're wrong."
And also introduces us to one of the greatest actors of all time, Peter Capaldi.
Yes,
that's true.
This is Peter Capaldi's first appearance in
Caecilius / the Doctor.
Also, Karen Gillan.
And we will
as soothsayer /
yeah,
God, yeah.
We will talk about Peter Capaldi as Caecilius more later, because that is legitimately.
Oh, is that actually
his appearance
canon?
As Caecilius is an important element of his Doctor.
Wow, I don't even remember that. Okay,
we will get there.
Doctor Who has a bit of a history of reusing actors here and there and being haha, it's not him, it's him with mustache now. Yeah. But yeah, Sometimes they do
Yeah,
something.
they
with
did
it
it
that's
as
kinda
far
fun.
back as Colin Baker.
It's really
Yeah.
funny that you said that because Mark Gatiss shows up in Lazarus Experiment and sucks,
Yeah.
and then shows up again later with a mustache.
And he's
so
not
it's
that
funny you said
bad.
that. And he's good in that one, yeah.
So then another amazing dramatic performance from specifically Catherine Tate, Planet of the Ood, which is
I mean, I
so
just
good.
love the Ood as a creature. I mean, people
Yeah,
love the
spaghetti
fucking
face
weep.
guys.
I know the Weeping Angels are like more interesting, but the Ood, just look at them. They're great, and they got a little ball. You know, it's great.
I love
I
them.
love them. Yeah.
Now for me, the Centauran Stratagem and the Poison Sky, they're good. They're not like phenomenal, but they're solid episodes.
I don't know. Again, it's one of those ones where the little potato men are so charming. I love them. You know.
That's fair. The Doctor's Daughter, it's pretty good. Yeah,
It's
I
not
like
that
it.
great, but it's notable because of who's in it. I'd say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is where we get the Doctor's daughter is the Doctor's wife, who is also the Doctor's daughter.
Yes, legitimately.
So,
Again, it is Peter. What is his name? Peter Davison's daughter, the
Yes.
Fifth Doctor's daughter, who is playing a character called the Doctor's wife or the Doctor's daughter.
and then she went on to
Ja-
marry David Tennant.
She married David Tennant. So yeah, I mean, I've realized as we were mentioning that earlier that it's almost kind of like a weird royal family incestuous Doctor Who relationship.
Kinda, yeah.
Don't think about it too much.
So, Doctor's Daughter, I would say that's the dud of the series. A lot of
And
people
even
think
if it's
it's
not
Yeah.
that bad, it has an interesting element with Martha and
Yeah.
the
the bubble guy.
Well, there's also the Agatha Christie one. I don't really remember.
Yeah, that's the
this
next one.
too
Unicorn
much.
and the Wasp. It was written by a piece of shit, but I like it. It's fun.
I'm trying to remember what the monsters are called.
What did Gareth
Last-
Roberts do? Isn't that the fucking Rogue One guy?
Yeah.
No.
No, that's Gareth Edwards.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Close.
But
I don't know
they were
that.
called the Hath.
Gareth Roberts is the guy who wrote the Shakespeare Code, Planet of the
Yeah,
Dead.
no, I know.
And
He mentioned that he was a piece of shit. What did he do?
He
Did
is
he
like
did he vote Saxon
transphobic.
he wife? Oh no!
Oh,
He is
another-
massively transphobic.
He did another fucking what's his name? Linehan. God.
Graham Linehan.
Just call him Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although,
It's a slur.
at least he's not divorced. So,
True.
it's not
15
as
times
embarrassing.
over.
The Hath. That's it. The bubble monsters are called the Hath.
Yeah.
That's it.
I said it twice.
I was trying to remember. I couldn't hear.
Oh, it's okay. So next we have Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, which is
Two of the best
fantastic.
ever still.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Still holds up.
I mean, I don't
The-
remember if the fucking Stephen Moffat dialogue is gonna piss me off if I watch it again, but
No,
I
it's
remember
still
these
fun.
being
the
fantastic.
concept of
Yeah.
carnivorous shadows is such a great idea.
Yeah.
And it is wild that there hasn't been another Vashta Narada episode.
And it's
Also-
such a I remember that word, the name Vashta Narada in your name. It's such in my brain. It's such a great name that I just love. Like remembered that and like I'm like, what is that from? Oh yeah, it's that one Doctor Who episode. Yeah, it's crazy
Again-
that hasn't come back.
Also, excellent cast because you've got Colin Salmon there. You've got
yeah.
Steve Pemberton. You've got OT. What's his name? OT Fashbenel. He's the guy. He shows up for like 2 minutes in the Black Widow movie. And famed ex-wife of Elon Musk, Tallulah Riley.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh wow.
The one who suggested that he buy Twitter and then ruin it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
real.
It's got a great cast.
Oh, that's
That
her,
episode was an
right.
excellent cast.
Only one of the cast members is incredibly stupid. So hey,
Midnight, excellent episode.
I love Midnight. It's straight up like up there with Heaven Sent for me. It's like
I think-
neck and neck.
I also has an excellent cast. David Troughton does an excellent job.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Patrick
second
Troughton's
Doctor's
son.
son, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's great in it. He has an excellent performance.
Also,
Um,
Alice Troughton, which, funnily enough,
Unrelated.
not related to Patrick Troughton, directed the episode.
Oh, interesting.
I think that I just think that's fun.
Again, it's the incestuous Doctor. Don't worry about it, though. Don't worry about it. Then Turn Left. I remember. That's
left.
That is one that I remember being like top 3 favorite whole
Turn
series.
Turn Left is the culmination of the previous 4 years of Doctor Who, starting to just crash together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's some pretty dumb stuff that happens a little later, as a result. But Turn Left is great.
Things. Yeah, and I will say we didn't mention it, but it's kind of relevant for this episode. At the very end of Partners in Crime, Rose just kind of reappears in a crowd.
Yes.
And then disappears.
Yeah, Rose is like dead or whatever, or didn't exist, or another universe. Don't worry about it, but she's back, yeah.
In the Sontaran episode, I think, Midnight, and I think Doctor's Daughter, there were like hints of her trying to get through to him.
Which is the new Bad Wolf type of situation for the season.
Yeah. Also, the planet's disappearing. The bees disappearing. The not bees. Well, the bees actually, mentioned in Partners in Crime, but the
bees. My God.
Yeah, the adipose homeworld, like their breeding world, disappeared. The homeworld of the pyroviles disappeared. I don't think there was a mention.
As well, right?
I don't think there was a mention in Planet of the Ood. In Sontaran Stratagem and Poison Sky, there was mention of the Sontaran breeding world disappearing. The Doctor's Daughter, I think it's both the Hath and the humans. Like their colony worlds disappeared.
Yeah, both of them go missing, which is why they're both attempting to lay their claim to the planet that they're on.
In Unicorn and the Wasp, there's the
Vespamorph.
Yeah, the Vespamorph, which is like tied into the bees disappearing, which is like kind of tangentially related to the missing planets.
It's all connected, yeah.
No mentions in Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, but in Midnight there's the Lost Moon of Poosh.
Yes, they reference the Lost Moon of Poosh quite a few times in that episode.
Yeah. So all of this kind of comes together.
Oh, wait, hang on, hold on. Before anybody says, speaking of Turn Left and Donna Noble, can we all just mention Wilf?
Oh, he's the best.
He's the best. Everybody's favorite, fucking goat, Wilf.
We'll get a bit more to him with the specials, which we should probably
sure
pick up the pace a bit. But Turn Left is you see more of Rose, you get more mention of all of the stuff disappearing, and all of that. It's like a sort of Elseworld style, like what would happen if the Doctor was gone, and it is such a good story.
Yeah. And it's very, very well directed, and
fantastic. Great music too.
Yeah,
like the theme of like the Doctor being dead.
Fucking Murray Gold is bringing his fucking A game. This whole fucking show.
The music for the entirety of the Revival series, up through and including Series 10, so good. And he's coming back.
He's back. It's gonna be great again. I noted watching old Doctor Who, and it's not all over the place. There's some episodes that have like really nice soundtracks in them, but then sometimes there'll just be full episodes where it's like they just didn't have music for the whole thing, and there's like a little bit of da 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 like action music or whatever. But you really notice in just how much like the music is really adding to a lot of the scenes, especially with like I have a lot to say I don't like about the Matt Smith era, but the music in that era is like really driving home some of the scenes. And I remember like that one theme they play constantly. That's really fun.
His little leitmotif.
They overuse I Am the Doctor. It's such a shame.
It's too much.
For a while.
So then we get into the Stolen Earth into Journey's End, where we get explanations on why the planets are disappearing, and like 2 different crossovers meet up again with the main show with Sarah Jane Smith and like all of the Bannerman Road gang and Torchwood plus Captain Jack.
This whole fucking thing. When we mentioned Torchwood a little, but there was like the Sarah Jane Adventures featuring 4th Doctor companion Sarah Jane Smith.
Wasn't there a series for K9 too? I'm almost certain that was a thing.
There was a pilot.
There's the K9 series.
Is there?
There was a canine thing, yeah, and
I
they
watched
the
both of
torch
them.
Torchwood went for fucking like 3 or 4 years and had these save the earth or whatever, I forget what it was called, but they had like a couple of specials
Oh,
on that. It was a huge deal.
Yeah, Torchwood had a few specials. There was Children of Earth, Miracle
Children of
Day,
Earth.
and was there one more? Was there
I
another
think
one?
it was those two.
They
Oh.
started back after 2017 in Big Finish audio format and
Oh, yeah.
series 1 through 4. So they're the first two series of Torchwood are just called, series 1 and series 2. Then you have Children of Earth.
Yep.
Then Miracle Day.
That's
And then series 5 is called Aliens Among Us.
Oh,
And then series 6 is called God Among Us.
Oh, nice.
These were both before 2020, and now series
dude.
7. And now series 7 is just called Among Us.
Oh my god.
Among Us.
That's not real.
Us.
Why would they
That's
do
real.
that? Come
That's
on
real.
now.
Look.
That's insane. I
Look
love that.
with your eyes and see.
Oh my god.
Torchwood Among Us.
The episodes are literally called Among Us 1, Among Us 2.
Yeah, that's because it's a Big
Oh.
Finish box set.
I know. I just
yeah.
the laying it out like that is so funny.
Yep.
Torchwood Among Us.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Among
That's
Us.
great.
Oh my
God
god,
Among Us.
3 hours.
We gotta buy it.
Yep.
Torchwood Among Us. I'm just gonna put this
You know,
I'll be honest,
here
we
just
could
as
always
an
do a
image.
part 2.
We could.
We probably should do a part 2 if I'm being honest.
Like,
Let's
Sure,
kind
we can
of
wrap up here,
glance
'cause
over some stuff.
well, because I'm thinking, right, we could always do
You
a
guys
part
have a lot you want to say about
Actually, you know
12.
what?
I want to watch more of 12. Like, I haven't seen anything from his third season. Or series! No! I haven't seen any of
What I
that.
was gonna say
so-
is, what I was gonna say is,
Yeah.
we could always kind of leave off here and then tackle 11, 12, and 13, and then the specials
Exactly.
after the specials are out.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, because I need to rewatch.
I'm
I've been
down
really
for
quiet
that.
because I'm out of a loop for some of the later ones, and I've been meaning to rewatch it.
Yeah, and
So it's
I
like
know
something
we're
plan
gonna
on.
have a lot to say about Matt Smith, and there's a lot to say in general, and
There's so
there's a
much
lot
to say
of
about Capaldi,
opinions. So
too.
yeah, and so that would probably be best.
I'd
Yeah,
say
but
let's
talk
do the
about
specials.
the specials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess oh yeah, we should talk about, I guess, a little bit of the ending for.
Well, let's talk about the next Doctor.
Oh boy.
Well, I was talking Stolen Earth Journey's End.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah. Journey's
That
End and Stolen Earth are excellent
that specifically ties into the 60th anniversary, because at the very end,
Interesting.
everything looks dire. Donna. Oh, okay. So at the end of Stolen Earth, oh god, I have to go back for this. So
Oh no.
it really goes to show how good Russell T Davies is at tying things together. Because in David Tennant's first episode, The Christmas Invasion, he gets his hand chopped off by the Sycorax
Yes.
in a sword fight. But since he's in the first few hours of his regeneration, he just throws it back. And it's a really stupid effect, and I love it.
It's like awesome. Yeah.
But so
That was Christmas Invasion, you said?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
First David Tennant episode.
That is like the main, yeah, because that is like the scene. I knew there was a scene with him with a hand, and I was just like something. There was a vague memory of that. Yes, thank you. Unlocked that memory. That was great.
That was forgotten about. Besides a throwaway joke at the end of the episode where Rose says,
yeah, I forgot about this. Holy shit!
Yeah, so
yeah, you did have to go back. Jesus Christ.
In Torchwood, we see Jack Harkness with a hand.
That's true.
And-
Yes, Jack Harkness has the hand in Torchwood. Yeah.
This goes
forget
full
if that
Metal
was
Gear Solid 2. It's insane.
I forget if that was explained or not, but we'll just flash forward to Utopia, where Captain Jack meets up again with the Doctor, and just Captain Jack has this big ass backpack on his back, and when they get to like the Utopia base, I think Martha takes the hand out of the backpack, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And the doctor's like, "That's my hand. What?" And he was using it to like locate the doctor. So the doctor just keeps his fucking hand. I don't even think it's ever given to him. He just keeps it.
No, he just holds on to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just been in the TARDIS since that point. And at the end of Stolen Earth, the Doctor gets shot by a Dalek. And it's like, oh. And he begins to regenerate inside the TARDIS shortly after reuniting with Rose.
It's real dramatic. It's like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, because like there was no announcement that David Tennant was... I think there was no, there was no announcement that David Tennant was leaving.
No, yeah.
So...
Nothing.
It was a massive surprise to everybody, and I don't think Doctor Who is ever going to get something like that again. But
yeah,
he ends up channeling his excess regeneration energy into his hand, and that lets him keep the same face while being fully healed.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that this second 10th Doctor is, well, quote unquote, second 10th Doctor is a separate incarnation and should be counted as such. I don't think so.
No, he's the Meta-Crisis Doctor. He is
No, not that one. Not that one.
You mean
10th
the
Doctor,
14th Doctor?
No. So he regenerates. He transfers his excess regeneration into
I get what you mean.
the hand.
Yeah.
And people are saying that that's a second incarnation of the 10th Doctor.
No, it's not.
I don't
He's
believe
still
that.
He's still 10.
Yeah.
He keeps the same face, personality. The only thing that's changed is that he's expended regeneration and healed himself. I don't think that counts as his full other
No, it's not a
incarnation.
new iteration. No, that's stupid.
No.
Some people say that. They're wrong.
Yeah,
So-
that is just incorrect.
Hey, if you think differently, bump up our engagement by commenting.
Yeah, give us an argument. We'll if it's a good one, we'll address it.
Yeah, straight up. I checked the comments of most of these. So that's just kind of seen as, he cheated the regeneration. Oh no, now the drama's expended. But then, a little ways through the episode, things are kind of dire. And Donna's trapped in the TARDIS, and she feels like this pull towards the hand that's still just like sitting there in the water. And she touches it. And a new Doctor just bursts out from it. And he's naked. Which I think is funny. So this new Doctor is the Meta-Crisis Doctor. And it is a new incarnation of the Doctor because it's a whole new human. Well, yeah, a whole new human.
It's a different being. It's
Yeah.
basically like the Doctor's son at this point. He goes by
Kind of.
Corin in the extended materials.
He does?
Yeah.
Corin.
Yeah, in the comics and the audio stories and stuff, he tends to go by Corin.
Interesting. Oh, hold on, I'm getting an alarm. Okay, so, oh geez, I'm all out of sorts. We'll go ahead and wrap this. Yeah. So, they continue on. They come as like a rogue element to save the day. It doesn't quite go as well, and Davros, who is here, by the way, that's kind of a small part of this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He zaps Donna, and that like unlocks the Time Lord inside of her because the transfer was two ways when she touched that. Like when she touched the hand.
Yeah. Some of the regeneration energy went into her as well.
Yeah. So she's like part Time Lord in her brain. So she knows all of this stuff now. And it's a bit of a cop-out, but I think it's good because it leads into, after the day is saved, it's just the Doctor and Donna. The entire Tyler family who just kind of showed up, they go into their own separate alternate universe, like how it happened at the end of series 2. You have Sarah Jane, Mickey, and Martha all leaving on Earth. Same with Jack. And then it's just the Doctor and Donna. And the Doctor has to wipe Donna's memory so that she can survive. And it's the most dramatic companion exit. It's the best written companion exit.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
A lot less. It's the most dramatic. It's not the most melodramatic, which is Rose Tyler. They
Yeah.
really ham that up a lot, and I mean, people really like her, but I think it's a lot more earned with Donna. Yeah.
Just adding part 1 to the thumbnail here.
Yeah.
Yeah, after this point, the Donna does not remember the Doctor. She exists exactly as she existed the second before she transported onto the TARDIS at the beginning of Runaway Bride.
Yeah.
I guess technically at the end of Doomsday. So that's sad. It's genuinely heartbreaking. And instead of ending on a fun tease for the Christmas special, which we'll get into right after, it just ends on the Doctor being sad.
Yeah, it's kind of a downer ending.
Yeah, it's not just kind of a downer ending. It's a massive downer ending. Well, let's talk about the specials and then wrap up.
Well, I was gonna say, and the interesting thing is, the Meta Crisis Doctor goes on to have a daughter with Rose.
Yes.
And all this other stuff, but it all happens only in the comics, and it's never acknowledged anywhere.
Yeah, at this point, you never see Rose Tyler again. You never see the Meta Crisis Doctor again. It's just
don't worry about it.
That's the end of the story for them.
Life. Yeah, they don't need to be the protagonists in stupid, wacky adventures. They get to just be happy. Isn't that nice for them?
So yeah, that's the end of Series 4. Let's get on to the specials with the next Doctor, which is clickbait.
Ooh, shit.
You ever seen clickbait before? Well, I guess it's not really before clickbait, but it's clickbait for TV, and that's what this is.
Essentially a prelude.
Yeah, basically. Well, actually, not really a prelude. Actually, no. My brain's starting to work slow. But it's so all right. The Doctor shows up in Victorian London. Is it London?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's.
Oh yeah, it's the fucking fake Doctor one. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
and it's
one. I don't think people remember how big of a deal this was, because going into it, they announced that David Morrissey would be the next Doctor.
Yes.
They announced that. They said, guys, following David Tennant, you are meeting the new Doctor played by David Morrissey.
And
that was a load of garbage.
That wasn't true. That was
that's not true. That's a lie.
That turned out to be a bit of bullshit.
He was what's his name? Jackson Lake.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a great episode.
It's okay.
I watched it originally without. I watched it without any of the knowledge of that happening, and I just remember being like, I don't know. It was just kind of it happened, and then it stopped happening, and I forgot about it.
There's that really weird bit where they make a hot air balloon to fly up to fight a giant Cyberman.
What was that called? It was called the TARDIS.
Yeah, it was the. Oh my god, what is it? Oh my god, what was the acronym? It was the
next
something like. Oh,
god. I am pulling it up.
Let me find it.
Okay, hold on. I know the first word is tethered.
Tethered aerial release developed in style.
Which, to be fair, I really like that one.
It's fun. And then after that, nothing really happens of note there.
Yeah, it's just kind of a. It's a bit of a nothing thing. It probably exists only for the clickbait, honestly.
It did, yeah. And then there was Planet of the Dead, which also had a similar thing where they were like, guys, look at the new companion, Christina.
And she
super wasn't. Well, wasn't this like this wasn't the writer's strike, but there was a reason why they couldn't have like a full season.
David Tennant was doing Hamlet, I think, for the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So it
Um,
was, yeah, it was kind of difficult to plan around that. So
It was weird, yeah. But Planet of the Dead is important because it sets up elements that will play into the rest of the specials. Because
yes,
that is where David Tennant's doctor is given the prophecy of someone knocking 4 times and returning, which is, of course, in reference to the Master.
yes, because there was a drum beat in his head that went.
It goes
no.
do 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 do.
Yeah.
Um,
So
and then Waters of Mars, which is a pretty great
Water,
episode.
it's more than pretty great. Waters of Mars is fantastic.
It
I
Waters of
love
Mars is really good, yeah.
it. Is not only just a really good Doctor Who episode, but it's just great sci-fi.
It also does a lot of really good work for showing the desperation starting to form in the 10th Doctor's mind.
Yeah, specifically because of
Mhm.
that prophecy.
Because he knows what it means. He knows where it's coming from. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
also
and
they do a
there's
really
just
fun thing where they use the cloister bells of the TARDIS to go, the Doctor's regenerating. That's coming, which is a thing that hadn't been done since Logopolis, which was 20, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah, and people, I remember seeing somebody at the time who pointed out how big of a deal. I mean, I even said earlier like how big of a deal a regeneration is now, but especially that one. Like it's not this just yet, but like we're leading up to this whole big deal where like the next special that's coming up is like this entire fucking deal that's all about him regenerating, and even the part where like I don't want to go, and just like back in the day, man, yeah, you would just get a doctor would just be like swapped out, and they wouldn't, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
And
There's
the
like
craziest
years
part,
of lead up to this shit.
the craziest part is that when this happened, the Doctor only had 1 regeneration left.
Well,
No, this
Supposedly.
because
see
later
that's
on,
yeah,
they
that's the thing. It wasn't widely believed at the time that this next Doctor was going to be the last one, because you know
they
the
had already
the
discussed the amount of regenerations and all that.
yeah the War Doctor was not not even well known. It
The War
wasn't
Doctor didn't
known.
exist yet.
Yeah, the War
Yeah.
Doctor was not a thing, and it was
Tune in
also
next time for War Doctor, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, it was also widely believed that it wasn't really widely discussed whether or not that regeneration at the end of Stolen Earth counted.
No, but that's the crazy thing is that technically, when they go to Matt Smith and go, he's on his last regeneration now, and he has to be given more regenerations to actually regenerate,
Yeah,
it fits in perfectly with the canon established throughout Tennant's run. Even before they introduce the idea of the War Doctor, Moffat looked back at what was written and laid it out that way. It's really well done when you look at it as a whole.
yeah,
It's cool. I
Yeah.
love Waters of Mars. It has one of the best endings of any Doctor Who episode ever.
yeah. Like to the point where I legitimately do not want to spoil it at all.
No,
Yeah,
even
you should
if
go
From
watch
you-
what I remember of this one, isn't this like you mentioned his desperation in this? Like this is one where it's almost like Doctor as evil character, almost like
Yeah.
he kind of goes pretty bad for a
Well, this
moment.
is
Sadly,
he starts to go on about how he's the Time Lord Victorious and all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
sadly they didn't really do anything with that until like 2020 with that like
multimedia.
series,
Yeah.
which wasn't really done all that well, sadly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good story and I really liked it, but it just wasn't done that well.
But it does do an interesting thing of having the Doctor, for the first time, really actively go, I'm going to push against something that is a fixed point in time. I'm going to change it because I am the Doctor and I can do this. I have the power to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they really do present him as almost like he's becoming a villain, where it's like, you're just going to completely alter an inalterable event in time because you say so. And he's like, yeah.
I mean, it's
Basically.
ballsy.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
really wish they went further on with that.
I do too.
I mean, we think of
But he
him
didn't really have time.
now, like Doctor Who now. You know, it's it's kind of just a normal thing now for him to like move heaven and earth for one of his companions or whatever, or for himself. You know, whatever. This like insane shit. Like he's basically a god. I mean, they call him a Time Lord, and it's not for nothing. But like back in the day, I mean, I don't know. I've never heard like classic Who fans ever really talk about it, but it is funny. Like he, you know, yeah, he was like a magical, weirdo space guy back in the day, but he was never like mending two universes together in like this insane display of like I don't know, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that they have him doing now. Like again, the stuff that happens in Heaven Sent, uh, billions and billions of years and all of that. He's like a god now, basically.
And there's a really interesting element which we'll talk to when we talk about Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Of Peter Capaldi's Doctor has this initial element because of the stuff that happens with Matt Smith and Tennant and him, of this like needing to deal with what his morality actually is.
Yeah.
Which ties back to this David Tennant stuff where he's like, okay, but I did that. I tried to do that, but couldn't I still do that? And you actually see him grapple with that. And it's not until I think the end of his first season where he goes, I need to stop thinking about this and just focus on doing what I've always done. Which actually adds to his Doctor as a character. But that ties back to this stuff happening with David Tennant for The Waters of Mars and End of Time. Like, it all ties back to that in a really interesting, dramatic way.
Yeah, it's really good. Like I really like we clown on Stephen Moffat's writing a good deal, especially in this episode, but
Yeah.
man could write a fucking story. For real.
Was he Waters of Mars? Oh, he wasn't.
No.
But
I was talking about like the theme, the general theme of the 12th Doctor.
The thing that he always did best was tying back major thematic elements of iterations of the Doctor. When he was tackling the Doctor as a character, more in Capaldi than Smith. Smith, he kind of just did his own thing. In Capaldi, he really focused on like looking back at the history of the character. When he did it well.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember people giving, like, back in the day, people gave Russell T Davies a lot of shit. And they were very happy that Moffat was taking over, and they were like, now the show's going to be smarter because Moffat's a better writer. Because, he's very pretentious, and a lot of the time, and they thought that made it smarter. But, like, Russell T Davies is consistently writing a lot of the best stuff in the show, like Waters of Mars. And then occasionally, I don't know, did he write the finale of Series 3? I'm not sure.
See, yeah, he did, but also he didn't fully write Waters of Mars. He
co-wrote it.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with Phil Ford.
Yeah. Well, and then, of course, The End of Time was written by Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat.
Yeah. Although, admittedly, a good deal of Moffat's writing was probably just like the opening bit of, the 11th Doctor.
Yes. Speaking of which, The End of Time is a very mixed.
It's a mixed bag.
It's episodes that I really liked when I watched them when they premiered, and have watched them since, and kind of went.
Well, they're basically like really big budget, like Channel Awesome movies. Like just a bunch of shit is happening, and there's not a lot of pacing, and just scenes kind of go from one to the other. And Timothy Dalton's there.
And there's all the stuff with the Master going flesh, eat, yummy.
He turned. I don't know, man. I think it's the best Doctor Who episode ever because the word Skeletor is uttered once.
He does say,
nice.
They do discuss Skeletor.
Well, Bernard Cribbins is there, and he's fucking doing his thing as Wilf.
He gives the best performance of his entire time on the show.
Wilf is so good, and I'm glad that we're getting him again in the 60th.
Wow, that's amazing. Is he still alive? I
No,
thought
he
he
died.
died.
Yeah,
He
he
died.
passed
Oh.
away very recently. It's
Yeah.
it's his last performance.
He passed
Oh.
away just after finishing filming.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, and of course, we can't talk about the end of time without talking about the fact that Obama becomes a white man.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, was this or was the series 3 the Obama? I think it
No,
was
this is the
this.
Obama.
Yeah, the Obama part is pretty great.
And the thing about the end of time is like again, I enjoy it as like fun, but it's not really great. There's all the stuff
Yeah.
with the
No.
white point star diamond, which is like, what was the point of this? Like, there's the stuff where they're like, dude, the banging noise in your head was just your heartbeat. And the master's like, what? And it's
No
like,
way.
so what the where'd this come from? Like, it's
Uh-huh.
really bizarre.
How could this
Um,
be?
Yeah,
like
that's very strange.
it's a lot of stuff where you're watching it, and again, I enjoy those episodes, but as you're watching them, there's all these fun bits, and then you stop and think about what you're watching, and you're like, why? What?
Yeah.
What? Um,
Like there's cactus people. They're
yeah, but
there.
they don't really do anything.
Yeah. They just kind of
What
exist.
about the cactus people? There's so
The
much, Jesus
the plot
Christ.
of the Time Lords is to bring back Gallifrey, and so tear apart the entire universe and kill everything,
Yeah, and then become like beings of pure consciousness.
which is just a
Right.
thing that they think will happen. They don't know if it'll actually happen or not.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck. I hope that works out for him.
But of course there is the incredible ending. I do think that like it's such a weird case where 80% of the episode is kind of just nonsense, and then the last 20% of it is legitimately really beautiful character writing and storytelling.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
Yeah, there's a
also
lot of great stuff in there.
there's the bit with Wilfred and the doctor in the spaceship up above,
yep,
which
where they
that's
discuss their
just
experiences with
the
war.
yeah, the spaceship up above is just something you're gonna have to accept because I'm not gonna explain it. But
I mean, they don't
yeah,
explain it. They just say our ship is there, and they go, "Okay."
yeah. Apparently, no, because they had to they had to go in silent running mode because of to avoid like sensors.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they did at least do that, but yeah, it's it's just kind of all over the place. But then you have that really beautiful scene where Wilf and the doctor are talking about war, and Wilf is just begging the doctor if because he brought like a gun with him for the doctor to use, and Wilf is just begging him, please use this. I don't want you to die, and it's
Again,
genuinely heartbreaking.
unbelievable performance from Bernard Cribbins, where
Yes,
he
seriously.
delivers all of the weight of a man who has seen loss as he's trying to beg someone to not be another person that he loses.
Yeah.
Um, it's really impactful, and then of course there's the bit in the radiation booth.
Yeah, where the Time Lords are gone. The Master's like, he's sacrificed himself to go along with them because I think it's like specifically because he realized that the Time Lords were using him, and then the Doctor like spared him. So
Yeah.
he's like, okay, buddy, I'm gonna do you a solid, and he flexes his lightning powers, which I'm not gonna explain.
No.
So
Um,
it's done. It's done. The conflict is resolved. David Tennant's the doctor's getting up. He's relieved, and then all right, it's not picking up. Hold on.
Yep.
Then you just hear behind him. That didn't pick up. It's
It's
four
still not
knocks.
picking up. Yeah,
you
it's
hear
four
the
knocks.
four
You
Yeah.
knocks.
hear four
Yeah.
knocks, just four small knocks coming
Boom,
from
boom,
behind
boom,
him,
boom,
and then
Very
Which,
the
as I
realization.
recall, is also a thing that landed really well at the
Yeah, it's
first
great.
time.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's the element of you're always presented with the knocks being this like thunderous drumming dun 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 dun, but when you hear them, it's just these soft gentle, like kind, just knocks for attention kind of Wilf going like, "Hey, I'm stuck in
still
this booth. I need
trapped
help getting out."
trapped in a chamber which will flood with radiation if he tries to leave, which is a
And
bit of a
then-
stupid design, but
And then the Doctor has his pure moment where he just breaks and has to deal with his own self-absorption and ego.
yeah, I'm
in a
not a
way
big fan
we
of that
don't
scene
really
personally.
see very often, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
mean,
that
well-
he doesn't want to die. I get that he doesn't want to become another person.
For me,
You
Here's
just
the
yelled at
thing.
this sweet old man and said he was not important in the slightest, and
Yeah,
that
it
his
was-
life didn't matter.
it was putting down Wilf. You don't do
Yeah.
that. Wilf's a
Well,
treasure.
The whole thing, I remember, like, again, at the time in 20 whatever, I remember it was like some guy, I think it was Welshie or whatever on that guy with the glasses website, who was talking about Doctor Who. It might have been somebody else, but I think it might have been Welshie who was talking about, and yeah, longtime old classic Who fan talking about the show back at the time, and just being like, yeah. Why does David Tennant get so much time dedicated to him, like, regenerating? Why is it all, "Oh, I don't want to go," and all of this stuff? Like, you're just another guy. There's been like a bunch of people before you. Why are you so special? Oh, it's because you're popular and all of the people on Tumblr like you or whatever. Like, you're the one that the show got really successful with, so you're getting the most, time. You're getting all these specials and all this lead up to your regeneration. Where, Tom Baker just got, like, shoved in a fucking closet. I don't know. Like, yeah, it is a lot. A lot of the just extended,
and-
like, goodbye sequence and everything for, like, 2 fucking episodes, basically.
This is a controversial opinion because everyone loves the David Tennant stuff, the regeneration. I think it's a good regeneration, but it goes on a while.
Yeah, I think
it's too long. Yeah.
I really think
but
the farewell tour that he does at the end. Am I too loud?
No, not at all.
Okay,
You're
so
fine.
the farewell tour he does at the end is a bit long. It's very effective because he goes around and he, like, says bye. Well, not really
He
says
says
bye, but
goodbye
he's
to, like, he's like every character that he could possibly say
All of-
goodbye to at that
all
point.
of his
Even
companions.
spin-off
Yeah.
characters. He goes and saves Sarah Jane Smith's adopted son from the Sarah Jane show to say
Well,
goodbye.
because that was also closing out that entire, like, cinematic universe at that
Not
time.
quite actually.
Oh.
Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh, there
went
was
on for a
fucking
while.
Class also. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Class was like later.
That's Capaldi.
Okay. All right.
Well, and here's what I was gonna say. I don't love the David Tennant thing, and yes, I know I'm a Capaldi shill, but Peter Capaldi's Doctor also has a moment where, or quite a while, where he's actively fighting back his regeneration. His regeneration is not instantaneous. It is him actively saying, I'm not done. I'm not done. I have to keep going. The difference is there's a clear mindset as to why he's doing it. It's
Yeah,
not
he's
just, I don't want to.
he's doing it for an
Because the
altruistic
next
reason.
Doctor is going to be really bad, and he wants to avoid that happening.
It's like you said, it's him trying to be altruistic because it's him thinking like, have I done enough to be the man I was meant to be as the Doctor, as this self?
Yeah.
Like, have I shown that I am the Doctor and that I was the Doctor? Have I left that mark? And so he keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, fighting it back until the moment where he accepts, maybe I've done enough. Maybe I should just let myself go and let the new me take over and move forward.
Yeah.
Which is so drastically different from David Tennant's that I love it way more.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because for David Tennant, again, it just kind of feels like he's just like, I don't wanna.
Oh, they don't. I should go
even Matt
regenerate.
Even Matt Smith's Doctor, who has a recurring line and theme of how he doesn't like endings and he doesn't like the endings of stories, he doesn't like saying goodbye. Even he at the end goes, you know what? I was the Doctor. That's okay, because even when I'm gone, I will always know that I was the Doctor.
Yeah.
He moves on.
Times change, and so must I.
He doesn't go, no, I don't want ya. Okay, bye. You know? I don't know. It hits
Yeah.
different when you do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so he does I'll go ahead and finish up the synopsis. He does the farewell tour, and he ends on Rose going home New Year's Day 2005, which, by the way, it's kind of weird and inconsistent canon-wise, but whatever.
Don't worry about it.
He says, "Oh, you're gonna have a great year," and then he, like, not being seen by anybody because Rose went back into her like apartment, just kind of slowly stumbles toward the TARDIS, which looks stupid without the music accompanying it. Props to Murray Gold.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as final lines go, I don't want to go is not really a good one for a doctor.
No,
Not
it isn't.
really.
It
I'm
hit
not
him
gonna
desperately. I don't
If he-
want to go.
If he had said nothing, that would have been perfect.
If he had just had a moment where he cried and just finally felt catharsis before he was gone, that's great. The thing is, you compare it to the other modern Doctor regenerations, where Christopher Eccleston says, you know, Rose, you were fantastic, and so was I. Great line.
Yeah.
Times change, and so must I. I will always remember when the Doctor is me.
I'm not going to say Capaldi's because I want Claw to experience that without spoilers. But like you said, the final line of Matt Smith's of "I won't forget one line, not one day. I swear I'll always remember when the Doctor was me." And the best part of that is that he looks at the camera when he says it.
Yeah.
For a fleeting second, he looks straight at the camera and acknowledges, like, "I'll see you guys later," and it's really sweet.
Yeah, I'm not big on 11, but 11's regeneration was phenomenal.
Listen, at least Tennant's final line of "I don't want to go." It's a good line for saying goodbye to the series, not for regeneration.
Yeah.
At least it's better than Colin Baker, who says, "Carrot juice,
Carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice."
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, that's the Russell T Davies era.
Carrot juice ends it.
By the way, just to finish up the synopsis, he says, "I don't want to go. There's a big light show. The TARDIS explodes, and then the Doctor thinks he's a girl and is very glad that he still has legs."
And then
he's not
says a
ginger.
catchphrase that I will say Matt Smith didn't say enough. He yells Geronimo, and the episode ends.
Yeah, and then at the beginning of that next episode, he almost gets castrated. Good job.
Yay!
Woo!
That'll be for next time, folks. I'm sure there will be spicy opinions about Matt Smith and about everybody loves Peter Capaldi. I haven't seen that much Peter Capaldi. I love Peter Capaldi? You'll find out more.
This gives me time to start rewatching at least the newer ones. That way I didn't have much to talk about, because it's like, I really liked it. I haven't thought much about it.
I'll say you should at least rewatch like the most notable Matt Smiths, and then watch as much of Capaldi as you can. I'd say.
Yeah, go as far as deep into. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
I'm gonna go in deep into Capaldi as you can. Yeah.
Thank you.
You said it.
Yeah, there you go.
With
Get
that,
it deep in.
Guys, play us out.
Yeah.
So that's I guess that's part 1 of the Doctor Who hyperfixation. I guess we're just gonna do
and of course
another
also,
hyperfixation series.
Also, we're gonna probably piss on Jodie Whittaker for a bit, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's the thing. I'm gonna take
it
even.
As an actress, but
we'll try to be even about it. Yeah, because there's been redemption to that. People like her now, and well, not her, but like her era specifically. People like her as an actress generally, but I mean, like 13 in that era.
Good job. There's some episodes. You're doing good here.
There's supposed to be some good ones. Yeah, I'll watch some of the ones that are supposedly good, and maybe some of the bad ones too, and get an idea for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be as fair as I can with Jodie Whittaker once we get around to her, because it's not her fault.
It's not. No.
It's Chris Chibnall's fault, and even then, he tried. He did what he could. It's just
he had moments.
Yeah. Well, he did. Yeah. He had a couple pretty good ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No
You're roboting a bit, Gabe.
It's a screen here.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, and
Yeah, no
yeah, everybody, thank you for listening. This has been a Doctor Who Fixations episode, hyper in nature,
Yeah.
and that's a big Allons-y for me. You got your favorite catchphrases, anyone? Gabe, you said Geronimo.
I actually think Geronimo is a thing that Matt Smith should have said more often. He
Yeah.
only says it
Yeah.
like 5 times, and it's a charming catchphrase for him.
It's
It fits his
good.
like, old man.
It's better than the Fez,
um
which isn't a catchphrase, but still.
what's Peter Capaldi's catchphrase? I don't think he has one.
And it's
Not
just
really,
shut
no.
up.
Don't be lasagna.
Yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Take it easy, folks.
I won't take one from a doctor, but I'll steal one from a Daleks. Exterminate. I can't do the voice.
There
And
we go.
I'll just round this out with time cock.
Hell yeah.
Thank you very much, folks. Penis.
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 Time cock.
All
All right,
Policeman.
I stopped my record. Time cock is a real thing, by the way, a real actual thing.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Does it look from a comic or something?
It's a Bernice Summerfield thing, so you know.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say the